Alright, welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. This is your host, King Bucho today. Whoa. I hear a lot of vibrance. I think it's a fan. Jesus. Anyways, hold on. Let me fix this shit. Alright, I think I fixed the problem. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be King Bucho today, so better like it. 'Cause that's what's gonna happen. Streaming from Mexico, says John Gonzalez. Yes, we are. From a chicken barn. Chicken coop. I don't know how you call them. Alright. Let's get this started. So, I guess you guys know what we're gonna be talking about, which is Saturday's fight, Kovalev against Alvarez. Abstract says, Bucho hosting, I'm gone. That's right. Alright, I'm gonna start sending the links. I think I already sent that link to Stu. I did. Now I'm gonna send one to Abstract. Hold on. Yeah, okay, it's working. Oh, is there a slowdown? I think there's a slowdown. Let me check on the phone. Alright, somebody type something. No, it looks fine. No, it looks fine. Alright. BDA too famous to be on. Yeah. BDA is like a superstar now, so he doesn't bother with the show anymore. He just gave up on the show. I'm joking. Nah, he's gonna be back. He's just busy. So we might not even have a show this Saturday, so we'll see about that. But I think I can do a show on Friday and a post fight on Sunday, and it's actually BDA can do one on Sunday as well, I think. But since we don't have a show on Saturday, we're gonna be doing one on Friday. All right, I'm getting all mixed up here. Okay, Abstract. I don't know if you can join, Abstract. Do you want to join? I'm gonna send it anyways. Where's Apology? Apology, you want to join? You better join. I'm sending the link. Now, like I was talking to Stu before, and I wanted to do a show, obviously to talk about this weekend's fight, but also to talk about this discussion that we've been having since last show about the PBC and Showtime having amazing fights, and who should we thank for if this is indeed true. So we're gonna get all this cleared out, make it clear, because I think some people are confused as to what my position is on in all of this. So we're gonna get to it. Let me test the soundboard.
You goddamn guineas really make me laugh.
All right, I think it's working. Yeah. How many people do we have so far? Let's see. 8. Jesus, that's not a lot. Alright, let's get this shit started, man. It's dragging. I want to talk about my position on the LDBC. I'm joking, that's boring as fuck. Let's talk about the PBC. Now, I'm gonna be showing you guys I'm gonna be showing you some of the fights that we've had on Showtime. Alright? So, on March... Oh, there's more. Hold on. Alright. Let's see. Okay. January. Spence against Peterson. Okay fight. I mean, what else do you want? I don't know who else Spence was gonna fight. I think this was his third fight. No, his second fight after the Kell Brook win. Amazing fight? Nah. I mean, it's a fight. Both fighters are with Al Haymon. Probably wanna showcase all of Spence fights on Showtime, so to put it against Peterson. Then you have Garcia Rios. I mean, come on. Amazing fight? I don't know. Wilder Ortiz. Yes, this is a fight we all wanted. Now, of course, Ortiz impressed us like in 2015, 2016. That was a fight when he surprised us all. But after that, he was in decline. But finally, we got that fight anyways. And it's a good fight, considering there's not a lot of heavyweights anyways. Garcia Lipinets. I mean, this is not a barn burner, fuck. Then we had Joshua against Parker. That fight has nothing to do with Al Haymon. Okay? That's a Showtime fight that they bought. HBO could have bought it, another channel. So that's nothing to do with Al Haymon. Alright? Erislandy Lara against Jared Hurd. Good fight. I'd say great fight. Jared Hurd, I don't know, he came out of nowhere. He's something unexpected. And then you have Lara, who's always there, fighting Delvin Rodriguez, Yuri Foreman, great PBC matchups. I mean, I gotta thank Al Haymon for those fights. But now he finally lost, and he's out of the picture. I mean, this is a guy who wanted to fight Golovkin, and people said that Golovkin, he might outbox Golovkin. I think Golovkin is 10 times better than Jared Hurd, no doubt in my fucking mind. Okay, his pedigree says it all, even his amateur pedigree. So he would have completely destroyed Erislandy Lara anytime. Because now you're gonna say that he's old. Oh, I hear some noise. Who's there? I can see. Hold on. Oh, I think it's... Oh, everybody's here. Holy shit, I'm talking to myself here. Alright. Let me just play Stu's intro.
White man's burden, Lloyd, my man. White man's burden.
That's not his intro.
I wasn't bad though.
I told you what's going to happen with Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
All right. Okay, welcome.
What's happening, boys?
Well, yeah. Hello. For some reason, you guys aren't showing up on YouTube. All right, you guys talk. And okay, I'm going to introduce Stu. Hello, Apology, and we also have Abstract. Where do we Stu? Do you want to tackle this issue first, the PBC issue, or?
You're cutting it. You're quite, but the sound's quite bad. Are you cutting out for everyone else? Is Bucho cutting out for everyone else, or is it just me?
No, yeah, he cut out. Well. I'm guessing he said me, like when he was saying like who was here. He cut out when he said that.
Okay, because
okay, hold on.
Signal coming from Butcher at the moment.
Do you guys on YouTube hear me properly? Okay, am I fine now on Hangouts?
It's them Mexican sheds. You never get a good fucking signal down in the Mexican sheds.
Can you guys hear me though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear Abstract better than I can you.
How do you hear my voice? Like it's what type of sound?
Yeah, that's all right. You sound all right now. It's just you're just cutting out, going a bit robotic. It must be the signal, bro.
Maybe I'm too far.
It's only now and again, anyway. It's not all the time.
Oh, it's not. It's just I'm missing a few things that you're saying. That's all.
Yeah, I think I know why. Because BDA set up something on the computer where, like, if there's background noise. Anyways, too complicated to explain. I don't even know how to explain it. All right. Well, welcome, Abstract, Apology, and Stu. Now, as I was saying, Stu, do you want to talk about the PBC now or save it for later?
No, I'm happy to talk about it. And it's up to you, bro. Sure, show.
Yeah, but we were talking about this before. Now, okay, so I don't know if you can see on your screen. I'm talking about all the.
I saw that roster. I mean, I saw the roster. I saw your video that you did. I saw the roster, and there was a whole lot of nothing there, really, weren't there?
No.
There were some good names there, but when you're talking all them fighters, I mean, how many of them are really gonna put bums on seats and gets people excited? I mean, there was a lot of average fighters there, or a lot of fighters at the end of their career. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few good names there, but no real great money makers. And it looks like they're gonna make Errol and Mikey Showtime pay-per-view. So much for the free fights that Low Place keeps telling us about. But that's going to be a pay-per-view event, and I just don't want to hear anybody. If Spence takes this fight, I don't want to hear Golovkin get discredited again for taking the Kell Brook fight, because he got a lot of hate and a lot of stick for taking that fight. Being a bully and everything else. But Mikey Garcia is also going to be going up 2 divisions, and let's be real, Kell Brook was an established welterweight for all his career. Mikey Garcia used to be a featherweight, so. You got to just look at it how it is, and the fact is, if Spence takes that fight, I don't want to hear anything about Golovkin Brook again, because Spence, what he's doing is just as bad, if not worse.
I agree with that.
I think it's worse because Brook was a big 147-pounder. He looked drained, while Mikey Garcia looks fat around the waist at 140.
Well, my point is Mikey's going to have to go up 2 divisions to fight Spence.
Yeah, I understand.
Brook did that, but Brook was an established welterweight, so it's like he's gone up just the 2 divisions, where Mikey has come from featherweight, so he's not really settled in a division. Well, for ages, he's been basically 135 is his division for me.
Yeah,
and for someone to go from featherweight up to 135 and then go up another 2 weights to fight a guy that's going to be 160 pounds on the night, it's just, I think it's a lot worse, to be honest with you. But if Mikey wants to fight, Errol Spence wants to get paid, and that fight is going to get him paid, so I can understand him taking it. But my message to the fans, if you want us to keep quiet about this, you better fucking keep quiet about Golovkin, because the minute I hear Golovkin getting trashed about taking the Kell Brook fight, then I'll be mentioning this one straight away.
How many pay-per-view numbers would Spence Garcia make?
Well, they're going to have to make a lot of numbers, because they're going to want 4 or 5 million each.
That's a good point.
If Errol Spence is getting 4 million to fight a donkey, then what's he going to get to fight Mikey Garcia on pay-per-view? Mikey's going to want 6-7 million to go up 2 divisions and fight the toughest guy there. He's going to want probably 8-9 million. What's Spence going to want? He's going to want the same. So you're talking a hell of a lot of money for this fight, and can it do 800,000? Do you reckon? I don't know. I'm not sure how it works these days, but it'd be a big struggle to get 800,000 pay-per-views for me.
You mentioned Spence numbers, and I think in his last fight, he made like 600,000 views. I mean,
he did 600,000 views on Showtime, a subscription channel. So when you pay $70-$80, that's the numbers are going to dramatically.
So he's not a star,
and they are drastically lower. And I don't know where they're going to make too much money out of this fight. The fighters will get paid well, and really that's all we should care about. Really, that the fighters get paid well. We shouldn't care about Showtime making money, or Eddie Hearn, or anyone else, Haymon. We should just care if the fighters get paid, and they will get paid. But if these guys want to, have their tongue stuck up Al Haymon's ass, then it's going to have to come correct and admit that this guy he's going to put on a fight that's going to make him no money. I don't think. I just don't see how it does. Might do.
Yeah. let me just go back to the PBC because everybody says it's a huge success. We all know that he acquired $500 million. He stole a lot of fighters from Golden Boy. Most of them were from Golden Boy, and he had a roster of around 200 fighters. 3 years later, was it a success? I ask everyone.
Did Heyman make his money back? If
Well,
not, then it's not a success.
what is exactly? Okay, let's put some
Yeah.
parameters.
You know, you have to look at it. Are these fighters bigger stars than what the world? Are they pay-per-view stars? You know, from 3 years ago.
Exactly.
And the answer is no in both categories, really. I mean, yes, some of these fighters have got bigger names. Like Wilder's becoming quite popular because he's been making his name off Joshua. Let's be real, but he's becoming quite popular. Spencer's quite popular. But when you look at the rest, have they really moved on with their careers? Are they established pay-per-view fighters? Are they established stars in America that they can get 1.5 million views? No, none of them.
No, and I think there's an argument, in fact, that the way Al Haymon sort of like prevents certain fights from happening, you know, the way his contracts are so sort of like he controls so much of what they can and can't do, could actually be a reason why they haven't become. I think there's an argument to say like he's hindered some fighters' careers actually, rather than help them.
Well, I agree. And yeah, by the way, Stu said that. Oh yeah, we have Matrix. Matrix, welcome back. How was your vacation?
It was good. Good to be back, guys. I've been listening here and there. Haven't really caught any boxing. Just some highlights of the Mikey Garcia and Easter fight. Been following a little bit of supposedly Wilder and Fury in talks. But I definitely been listening to you guys here and there. Where I was at, my internet was terrible. I was on a little island, you know how those things could be.
Oh yeah.
You guys ever been to those little islands? They're like, the internet is not that great. but yeah, going back to Al Haymon, I think Al Haymon wants these guys right where they're at right now. It's like a sense of they need him type of thing. If they develop to a huge star that benefits him, I think that's his angle. If it benefits him, like maybe like a Deontay Wilder, huge payday, will definitely benefit a guy like Al Haymon with his percentage of whatever that percentage is that he gets from Deontay Wilder. I think that's his angle with these fighters.
I completely agree. I want to ask you guys something. Have any of you seen his the advisor contracts that his fighters sign? Thunderdome done a video, and he left a link in the thing for you could click on the link and look at the actual contracts, the way they are and everything. And I tell you what, like some of the stuff in there was just like he controls pretty much everything they do. They can't make really any decision, like financial decision, without consulting him. There's a load of extension clauses whereby if they get a big fight beyond a certain amount, the contract with him extends for a further 2 years and stuff like that. Some of it's just like fucking mad. Like, and I agree with you recognize. I think he has things set up so he's constantly making money off things, and he's a clever guy, man. He's a clever guy, and I think he's kind of took advantage of a lot of these fighters because a lot of them don't. Let's be honest, a lot of them ain't all that smart, are they? To be fair,
I just don't get it. Where you give them numbers and you give them facts, and it's there for everyone to do the research, and they still come at you and attacking you, saying you're chatting shit. They'll come out with this fight, and what about that fight? And best roster of fighters on the planet, and you just can't get through to these guys that have Al Haymon Showtime fanboys, shall I say. You just can't get through to them, and it's like talking to balsa wood.
Can I
But the
say
thing is,
something?
Stu, you hit the nail on the head the other day with what you said. You said like you can always tell like which ones they are, because there's never any actual substance or facts in anything they say.
No.
On that video that you made on the BDA channel, I got a comment off of that guy that was trolling in the thing the other day.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I read it. I think I read it.
attacking me. There's nothing in it. He was like calling me a parasite, and there's like no fucking argument or anything or any fact.
I mean, I think I couldn't even be bothered to reply to him, because at the end of the day, you know, he keeps saying things about us, but he's here every week, isn't he? On the dot.
I know, and well, I did reply, and I said, like, you know, why don't you just come on? I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think it's ironic you calling me a parasite, and yet, like, all you fucking spew is just negativity. You suck all the joy out of any kind of, like, you know, like, positive. Here's the thing I hate about boxing these days is people are so fucking negative. Like, why are certain boxing fans so negative? I mean, look at Joshua Povetkin. That's a good fight. That's a fucking good fight. White Parker was a good fight. You know, and people just trash it because it's not the exact fight they want. Look, I want to see Wilder Joshua the same as everybody else, but doesn't mean every other fight in the division's a piece of shit. I mean, come on, man. If you love boxing, these people call themselves boxing fans, you know, hardcore fans and whatnot. If you're a hardcore fan, support the sport and, like, don't be so fucking negative, man.
Well, yeah.
You know?
No,
Well, the
they're
thing
not.
is,
But, you know, I've always said this, and and a lot of other guys as well. These guys are not real boxing fans. They're just there for. Maybe they go on YouTube to just talk about their own personal feelings, right? And they live vicariously through, you know, guys that they like. You know, the Spencers of the world, which I like too. I just don't like them the way they like them. You know, they like them in the sense that they actually think they're Spence. You know, that they think that that's him. That's who they, you know, that's who they are. And you can't like them because you don't agree 100%. It's just this, at least for me, with the BDA podcast. Here's like we kind of all like objective about most fighters. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, we're like even fighters that we do like, we sort of criticize them. You know, I like Anthony Joshua. I don't think Anthony Joshua is the greatest fighter right now. You know what I'm saying? But I like him. If you ask me to choose, I'm an American. If you ask me to choose between Anthony Joshua, who I want to hear speak, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. I'm talking about not for entertainment values, just to have a conversation with about boxing or whatever. I would probably say Anthony Joshua. So therefore, I like him more. But I'm not going to be biased and tell you, yeah, this is a guaranteed win because I like Anthony Joshua more. He's got this fight in the bag. You know,
it's the same with me. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you when I don't rate a British fighter. I'll be the first to tell you he's a bum. I'm the first to tell you that Frank Warren should retire. I'll keep it down the middle. I told you Anthony Joshua has not impressed me the last 2 times, and you know, I'm starting to worry about this Povetkin fight. So I've always kept it down the middle. But and now, you know, when I'm keeping it real, no one really says anything. But then when I say something about Showtime or Al Haymon, then the pit bulls come out from nowhere and start attacking you, and this fucking.
I mean, it's ridiculous when.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between a fan and a fanboy, isn't it? For me, a true boxing fan, can be a fan of a certain fighter. Like, I'm a fan of a lot of fighters, but I don't think there's any of them that I've ever just been 100% positive on. They've all got good points and bad points. They all do shit that, you know, it is kind of questionable and stuff. And when they do, you call it out. But it's these guys that kind of, like, you know, a guy like Wilder or a guy like Spence or whatever just can do no wrong. And their whole narrative is kind of like with this whole, and it's getting boring. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this whole Joshua Wilder, Shelley Finkel said this, and Eddie Hearn's a plantation fucking slave driver, this, that, and the other. It's like everything one side says must be fucking like gospel. That's etched in stone somewhere. But everything the other side says is automatically bullshit, and that's a fanboy for me. That's not a boxing fan.
Like, if you get emotionally involved with one fighter, you won't enjoy the sport because
Exactly, man.
you won't. You just
Listen,
won't enjoy it.
these aren't
No,
boxing
But
fans.
you're
Hold
constantly
on. Let me say
worried about them
something.
losing. You're
These
constantly
people.
worried about them losing. The way a lot of
Can you guys hear me?
said something there, and it's true. Like the way a lot of these guys
Jesus.
sort of go on, it's as if like they've got some sort of stake in it, like as if like they're getting a share of the purse or something. It's like,
Yeah.
mate, whoever
Like, don't
wins
get
is
me
going to be
wrong,
the
man.
best guy.
Don't get me wrong. There's fighters that I want to win. I'm a fan too. You know, I'm a fan. Look, I'm a fan of the sport first, and then I kind of like. Then comes the fighters that I feel do it the best, right?
Yeah.
And there's the whole personality thing. That's that's the last thing I look at, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it becomes important. I like the fighter. I kind of like the fighter, and I want them
It's like
to win.
it's
But I
like
want
Spence.
the sport. I'm more into the skill set. So, for instance, if somebody actually goes in there and schools Manny Pacquiao, a guy that I actually enjoy watching and I root for, I want to win. I'm gonna like that performance. I mean, for me, that means he's gonna totally outbox Manny Pacquiao and make him look, like he needs to retire. That's a great performance, right? Wouldn't that take a great performance in order to be a legend fighter that we may like? You know what I'm saying?
The
That
thing
we
is that
think are doing it at the best.
my problem is recognise, yeah, a lot of these fighters that these guys follow, I actually like. I mean, there's nothing to dislike about Sean Porter as a person. Errol Spence seems a level-headed guy, nice guy. A lot of these fighters are real nice guys. It's just the toxic fans they bring with them. You just don't want them to do well, just to shut them fuckers up. And it's the wrong way. We should be Errol Spence fans. We should be Wilder fans. We should be all fans of all these fighters. But it's got very territorial, isn't it? It's got and
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
it has
to ask
become
you.
good.
I don't even know if it's about race anymore. Because I've noticed that a lot of the British channels have turned on the LDBC. When you look at
Oh, it's
Hatman,
not. It's not. It's
yeah.
listen.
When you look at Hatman and
Race is a
Boxing
minor.
Beats and Rhymes, Boxing Beats and Rhymes used to chill with all them guys, and I catch his videos now and again, and he's at war with them.
Yeah,
He's constantly having
It's
a go.
cultural.
it's
It's
not.
Yeah,
cultural.
It's not a
but I
Look,
don't think
racial.
it's not even a race thing
race can be
anymore.
used as race can be used as a starting point. It comes down to culture, the message, because that's in everyday life. I mean, you can take from any race, and they'll start off by identifying with each other in terms of that, and then once I don't speak their talking points or I speak against it, oh, that's it. I mean, they'll come after me like I'm their enemy
That's
or
their
whatever.
mentality. They don't think for themselves. That's the problem. If someone
Yeah,
tells you
exactly.
I'm a Wilder fan, they have to be a Wilder fan, else to get kicked out of the group.
They're not real boxing
Yeah, that's
fans.
stupid.
They're not real boxing fans because once Ward left
No.
175, they stopped talking about the light heavyweight division. So the only reason why they were watching
Right.
these fights was so that's why most of these channels didn't cover the World Boxing Super Series because there's no Black American there. So they've just forgot about it. So they're not real boxing fans.
Yeah, exactly. Once guys like Earl Spence leave the welterweight division, I'm still gonna follow it. You know what I'm saying? Once Pacquiao's retired, still gonna follow the welterweight division.
Yep,
To answer you guys' question,
sure.
why do you guys think certain fighters on the Heyman um, roster are liked, but certain fighters are not liked as much?
What, on the Heyman roster, did you say?
Yeah, certain fighters seem to
Yeah,
get
I know
preference
the
given and
question.
liked more.
Sean
So
Porter, for instance,
yeah, no one likes
he's
him for some reason.
I,
Well,
No,
I
I,
think I know why, but
I don't know why anyone would dislike Sean Porter. I just don't get it.
I
I
think
think
it's
there's an
because he doesn't
Ohio
hit.
connection with
Yeah, go
Heyman,
ahead.
isn't there? I think there's fighters from Ohio. Isn't Heyman from Ohio? And I think Porter's from Ohio. Certain Broner, certain fighters from Ohio seem to get a little bit more shine than others. It's just a theory. I mean,
Yeah, but let's be
I
real.
think
That's everyone. Eddie Hearn. Look how he favours Dave Allen. Dave Allen should have been retired along. That guy should be fighting in a circus or something. Let's be real. I don't mean to be rude to him, but he's been getting chance after chance after chance. He stinks joint out after joint. He loses nearly every fight he's in, but he keeps getting chances. And that's Eddie Hearn would have mugged any other fighter off a long time ago. So he's got this little thing for Dave Allen, and I think most promoters have their little favourites. And I mean, let's be real. Sean Porter deserves to be a favourite because the guy will fight anybody, and he puts everything on the line. So yeah, I've got no problem with. I'm not sure about Broner. Broner brings numbers in, I suppose. So
I mean, I think with Dave Allen,
Apologies.
yeah.
I think with Dave Allen, Eddie Hearn kind of uses him. He calls him in at the last minute a lot. It's usually when the card's looking like it might not be great, he'll call up Dave Allen. I mean, in this last fight, he called him up. I think it was like a week's notice or whatever to fight Nick Webb, or a little bit longer, and put a win bonus on it, so he could pay him a small purse. Not thinking Dave Allen might actually win, and then Dave Allen goes and knocks Nick Webb out. I mean, I think, I think Eddie Hearn, like all promoters, are kind of just snakes, man. They're like they're it's all about the money for them, and it's a
come
business,
on.
so I suppose.
Hey, listen. Let's be real. You don't go to work for the love of your company, do you? You do it to
Yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah.
You do it to get paid for it. You do
Yeah,
it to
but
get
yeah,
paid.
I mean,
Yeah.
these boxers are fighting. They're fighting for the money. The promoters are trying to make money. I mean, listen, that part, I don't even, I understand it. I don't
Hey, listen.
get the
I
best deal
understand
that
it.
you think. But to
Yeah.
Apology's point, I just wanted to answer Apology's question. Apology. The reason why they don't like Sean Porter as much as they, let's say, like
Yeah.
Adrian Broner in the beginning or Earl Spence, is because Sean Porter loves his father.
Yeah, he's not a gangster. He
Okay,
doesn't fit the cultural mold.
these are men that I've seen on Facebook, not Facebook, well, Facebook too, but on YouTube, that are generally raised by women that have been dreadful, evil, conniving, dirty, nobody wants them kind of women, and they raise their kids that way. So they identify with people like an Adrian Broner better. You know what I'm saying? Like Adrian Broner, even though he may be raised by his father, he acts like a fool, right? And generally they're more attracted to guys like that.
I think. I
Wow,
think. That,
Sean Porter is a man who was raised military style. You know what I'm saying? Like his father was
Yeah.
yeah, but
was
that's
tough
how
on him, and
that's how my dad raised me, bro. That's how my dad raised me, and it does make you a stronger man. It does.
yeah, of course. And these are fans that are culturally hateful towards men. You know, they're men themselves, but they culturally hate other men, and a lot of that is personal. You know, their mothers made terrible
Yeah,
choices,
that's
and
exactly what it is.
raised them with the terrible choices that they made. You know, that's just the outside of boxing, my point of view.
I mean, just tells you where we are in society, where someone like Sean Porter can get hate, yet Adrian Broner gets loved by these certain people. I mean, it just
Yeah.
tells you that the mindset they're in, and until they snap out of that mindset, mate, it's not
Well,
going to get any better. Because
people from
Sean
Wall
Porter
Star.
Sean Porter should be a hero in America. Not Broner. Broner loses nearly every fight he's in.
Yeah,
He
he's a
never
clown.
puts on a show. He hardly throws any punches. He's an embarrassment. He acts like a fool. Do you know what I mean? And this guy's a hero. Yet Sean Porter, who conducts himself like a gentleman,
Yeah,
mannered, well mannered, puts everything on the line. Yeah, they don't like the guy. Just typical. It's the mentality of him, mate.
Yeah, can I say a follow up real quick? I also noticed that people complain specifically about Sean Porter and his style and how he headbutts and low blows and elbows. But when Floyd Mayweather and RJ Ward does it, they're pound for pound boxers. So I just want to point out as well how the LDBC has a bias against him.
yeah. Okay. Again, that's yeah. I totally agree. Look, man, going back to the PBC and all that. Look, I want the PBC to do well. Because if they do well, boxing does good, right? I mean, that means that they put on quality fights. Look, I don't care about what they make. That's their personal business. Don't really care. Do I like the Do I like the Sean Porter fight versus Danny Garcia? That makes me happy that as a boxing fan, they're gonna put that on, and I don't care who does it. If it's PBC, I give them credit and I say, that's a good job. I don't care. I don't care about these promoters. I don't care. I don't care about their personal lives. I don't care whether or not what they believe in. All I care about is they put in good fights. That's it.
I agree.
Totally agree. Because that's all that matters at the end of the day is good fights. I mean, does anyone care that Eddie Hearn makes another 100 million next year if he's not putting any good fights on? No. The fights were shit, but Eddie's made a fortune. Boxing's thriving.
They're not giving Eddie Hearn.
It doesn't work like that.
They're not giving Eddie Hearn any benefit of the doubt. They're already saying, "Oh, it's a scam," blah blah blah. But when Al Haymon gets $500 million and all these TV networks and all these fighters that he basically stole, nobody says anything, right? There's nothing fishy going on. But with Eddie Hearn, oh my God, no, this is all a scam. It's gonna fail.
I've seen a lot of envy and hate towards Eddie Hearn lately, and that's not just from Americans, from the UK promoters as well. I think Eddie Hearn seems to be the envy of the world when it comes to promoters at the moment, because he's a character. I'm not saying he's not a crook. They're all fucking crooks, but there's a reason he's making money, and he's never had one court case against him. Well, one fighter has took Eddie Hearn to court for money, where Frank Warren's got about 30 of them. So, this guy is a good promoter. He makes fighters a lot of money. Dillian Whyte, I mean, let's be real. He's made Dillian Whyte a hell of a lot of money. He's fooled us all into thinking that this guy's a pay-per-view fighter, and the guy is very limited. So that's good promoting, to the fact that Dillian Whyte has topped the bill, and he's got him good fights. And Dillian Whyte's got a heart and courage and desire, and that'll get him so far. And that was enough to beat Parker, because he hasn't got any. But to think that he could make Dillian Whyte a star shows you how good of a promoter he is. And he's actually resurrected Chisora's career. Chisora used to be hated in the UK. They were singing his name the other day in the stadium.
Can I just say something? Low Place keeps asking why we're talking about this issue. The reason is because we have seen all these comments in the last video I put defending the PBC, and we're having this debate. And they don't seem to understand what we're trying to say here, that the PBC was a scam. So that's why we're debating this, because there's no other choice. They don't understand, so it's better to do it live. We can more easily explain our points. So that's the reason why we're doing it. Now, Lopez, you said that you were gonna leave, so please leave if you don't want to hear this, because I see you're still there. All right. So...
Low Place, man. We'll stop sapping our souls, man. What's wrong with you?
I mean, Jesus, we go on for 3 hours. We talk a little bit about Al Haymon, and all of a sudden it's like, nah. Stop talking about Al Haymon. Why can't we talk about something else? Crying and crying.
I'll tell you what. One thing about Low Place, though, he sits there and he waits for you to make one mistake or something that's not right, and he pounces. And there's something wrong with the guy, man. Just enjoy your boxing. He does know boxing, but he's the devil's advocate. I think he likes to just talk shit to wind everyone up. I think that's the character he's playing right now.
Okay, then he gets attention.
That's that negative attitude I'm talking about. Like, always seem to be sort of waiting for something to go wrong, and they'll make people that make videos say like, yeah, I bet this is going to happen now, like, I bet he fights this person, and whatnot. Like speculating on something to fucking moan about before it's even happened. It's like, Jesus Christ, how anybody that's a real boxing fan can't hate on this, like Eddie Hearn, the zone thing, like before it's even happened. Like anything that injects money.
Why would you want Eddie Hearn to succeed? Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't get this. I want him to fail. I want boxing to fail.
I want to know why. I want to know why British networks are not snapping up these PBC fights. couldn't watch Mikey the other night. And there's a few fights I've not been able to watch lately, these PBC guys.
It's a unification fight. It's a unification fight. This guy kept saying that. Like, because it's a unification fight, it's supposed to be like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking pay for that shit. My god. Just because
yeah.
okay, anyways. I was gonna say something else, but I fucking forgot.
I want to go and get a drink, so I'm going to be 5 minutes.
Go ahead. I don't even listen to the LDBC, says Low Place. Okay, whatever. Well, good for you, man. But there's a lot of LDBC lovers who show up on BDA Boxing. So that's why we're talking about these fuckers. Because they don't understand shit, man. Okay, so
One thing on the boxing when we talk about characters like Al Haymon or whoever, they're a part of the boxing discussion, so that's why they get brought up. It's part of the boxing discussion. That's how it goes.
exactly,
Yeah.
they're part of boxing.
And quite often you can't. Sorry.
It's okay.
To put you off, man. Quite often you can't really discuss like fights and like why they haven't happened and stuff like that without talking about them things. You know, one thing I did want to say, this whole, I've got to say this whole, you know, people calling Eddie like slave master and plantation fucking guy and everything. Do these people realize that probably their own grandparents probably went through that? I wonder what, you know, anybody that says stuff like that, I wonder what you know, your grandparents would say if you tried to compare, you know, somebody earning 2.5 million for a fight, driving around in a nice car, has a nice house and whatnot, to you know, their ancestors that kind of like actually went through that stuff. It's a fucking insult, man. Like, I'm not even black, I'm not even like American, but like, it's just common sense that's like a fucking insult to talk about stuff like that. I mean, am I crazy?
Because the privileged victim class have not been, you know, since they haven't been taught that, you know, you need to be careful what you say. You can say whatever you want. You got, you know, you have moral superiority over anyone, no matter what you do. That's why they make stupid comments like that all the time.
Yeah.
And they're the most people with that kind of mentality are the most dangerous people. They actually feel that there's nothing they can say wrong or anything they can do wrong. Those are the most dangerous people in the world.
what has Eddie Hearn done wrong? Because as far as I'm concerned, he's doing a great job in the UK. Has tons of fighters, great numbers, pay-per-view.
Apparently, he's sort of like swindling AJ out of God knows what or whatever, and AJ's unaware of it and whatnot. I think it's quite ironic. It's usually like Wilder and Wilder fans that are saying that, and like Wilder's making like peanuts compared to what AJ's making. And what Stu said the other a minute ago about Eddie Hearn never being taken to court, that's true. Who it's not true of though is Shelley Finkel. So, you know, these people that are kind of like have this mentality that like everything that comes from that side must be true, and everything that comes from like Team AJ must be, you know, it's kind of like it's either just totally lazy thinking or it's just totally dishonest thinking. You're just not willing to see the fucking truth.
It's lazy and dishonest. It's both. I think it's both.
Yeah.
Just to
Brandon,
say, look, Eddie Hearn's a slave master, with no proof, right? They have no. They will never have evidence. No, it is. It is what it is. He is a slave master. That's it.
but going back to the
You offer me
PBC,
some proof? No.
hold on, let me just explain my position. Back in 2015, I was a PBC supporter because I was like, holy shit, they're going back on network television. And I didn't live through that era of the 80s where they had free fights and big fights, not shitty fights, like big fights on network television. I was like, this is what boxing needs. And I was hoping that the PBC was going to be a success. But then we got all these shit fights, a good fight here and there. But considering that they had $500 million and over 200 fighters, I was expecting much more. And I was expecting Al Haymon to actually do something good for boxing. But now 3 years later, we see nothing. There's absolutely no change, except to the fact that we're back to where we begin. He's back on Showtime. Back on Showtime. With angry fighters. Keith Thurman against Danny Garcia. That fight everybody was talking about back in 2015. Oh, the PBC is gonna put that on NBC or CBS. Fuck, it took 3 years for that fight to happen, or 2 years and a half, or something like that. Like, then I just criticized that, and oh, I'm a hater, I'm a racist, I'm a this, I'm that. I'm telling it as it is. I'm not making it up. You guys defending PBC and Al Haymon are the ones that should take a look at yourself in the mirror and try to understand where your fucking PBC love is coming from. All right?
I wonder if Heyman was white, he would have got the same treatment.
No.
Absolutely not.
No chance. No chance.
I mean, maybe there'll be some that like him because most of his clients are of African American descent. But I think that he wouldn't get the pass. And don't get me wrong, he's done some good things. There are some good fights that I've seen from him, and that's what I hope he continues to do. Al Haymon is not breaking me off with any money, so I don't. And if he was, I wouldn't be speaking. I have a different position in life, but look, I don't. I'm a boxing fan, and that's it. Whoever puts on I care less about these damn promoters.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think with Heyman, he makes money for himself, quite a lot of it, but I just don't think he makes any companies any money or any networks. He's a smart man. He gets his money from the purses. He gets probably 10% off each opponent. If he's putting 2 guys in that are both his for big money fight, say Errol spent 4 million, you get 10% of that's £400,000 for one fight, and then the other guy's giving you a bit as well. So why would Al Haymon care if he's care about boxing or putting on good shows? He just, as long as he can keep putting his fighters on these cards now and again, making his commission, that's what he's there for. Because he blew that 500 million in no time. I mean, he was playing Collazo 1.2 million. I'm fucking Collazo.
Yuri Foreman.
So that's where that money went. And the reason he paid Collazo 1.2 million is because he gets probably 10% of it. So that's,
I mean, it's a fucking scam. You fucking idiots. Jesus.
It's a scam. It's a scam.
Well, why can't we talk about it? I don't understand. It's like some people don't talk about Al Haymon. Blah 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 blah. Talk about this fight. Talk about this is fucking boxing. We can talk about it if we want. It's related to boxing, all right? You guys are talking about other shit that's not even related to boxing. I just don't understand these people.
Sorry, I forgot that this was our channel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh man, there's like 50 LDBC channels. There's like this channel and maybe 2 others that are not LDBC, and all of a sudden people complain about us. I mean, are they for real? Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Haymon has got a few good fights he can make. So I'm not going to sit here and hope Haymon fouls, because for me, he's done that already for boxing. He's fouled boxing. No, he's fouled boxing. He hasn't fouled himself because he's made a hell of a lot of money out of this deal that he got. He's fouled boxing because he had the foundations there to set boxing into the next generation, sort of thing. He could have made some big events and he could have got boxing on the map, but he did. He just went. A lot of these fights went backwards, if anything.
Yep.
Look at Furman. We thought Furman was going to be the next star, and he's just gone stale, isn't he? I'm not saying that's not Al Haymon's fault, I know, but it's still.
It is.
Porter's not really moved on. Porter should be a big name. He's not really moved on. Danny Garcia stayed the same name he was when he knocked out Amir Khan. I think only Errol Spence and Wilder and maybe the Charlos are the ones that are making a lot of noise at the moment and getting a lot of coverage. But like I said, the rest I don't think have moved on.
Somebody's to blame for the. Okay, yeah, there's echo. I hear echo. Fuck, man, I don't know. All right.
I'm willing to bet the same people who criticize Golovkin for fighting Kell Brook, right? Or maybe even Canelo, because he started at 154, 135 when he was like fucking 14 years old, whatever. I bet you they'll have no complaints. They won't bring up the fact that Mikey Garcia used to fight at 126, right? And we're talking about that fight possibly happening. That tells you the level of boxing fan that they are.
Recognize. I actually said the same at the start of the show. This is actually worse than Golovkin taking the Brook fight, because Mikey has come from featherweight, and Mikey's not even really an established 135 at the moment. He's going from up and down, so we don't really know what division he's established in. Kell Brook was an established welterweight from the beginning of his career, so I think it's even worse for Spence to start this fight. But if Spence is going to make big money, and I don't blame Spence if he can get 7-8 million to knock out a 135-pound fighter, then fair play to him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, I don't think Spence should take this fight, even if he gets paid, because that's what they said about Mayweather. It's not his fault that he fought Marquez. Golovkin, it wasn't his fault that he fought Kell Brook, right? But Spence could easily say no, right? Like they were saying Golovkin should have done.
Who is done?
Yeah, they were saying Golovkin should have never taken the fight, but now Spence should take the fight. So I don't understand. There's a double standard here.
£7 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The reason Golovkin took that fight is the reason Errol Spence is going to take the fight. Money.
Exactly.
Golovkin made about £6 million, which is what, 9-10 million. That's good money. Do you know what I mean? Even in America, that's good money for him.
Yeah.
Brandon White says
that the sanctioning bodies are allowing this to happen. A 135-pounder is the mandatory for Spencer's belt. That just proves how fucked the sanctioning bodies are.
What do you mean?
I'm reading in the chat there was $6 million. So I do apologise if it was $6 million. I just read that you got $6 million for it.
Yeah, people are gonna go after you now.
I assumed it was pounds, but it might be dollars.
People are gonna go after you now, Stu.
Yeah,
you don't know boxing. You don't know shit.
Did you guys hear what I just said? Or was that? Did I cut out?
Am I cutting out?
No.
Am I cutting out?
Just fine.
I think I'm cutting out.
Apology, I hear you good.
Okay. I'll just stating that sanctioning bodies are allowing this to happen, which is.
I think Apology's gone and bought himself a $500 mic like Matt from the Boxing Voice, and he's fucking sounding good today, mate.
Jesus.
Apology sounds better than everyone.
Well, Matt's been fired from the Boxing Voice. Did he sell you his mic? Apology.
He lost his 6-figure payday at the Boxing.
Did he ask if you wanted to buy any studio equipment as well?
He just needs to get an Eddie Hearn interview, and he'll be back in business.
With a 6-figure payday with you.
Yeah, he'll chuck in a Boxing Voice poster as well with it.
He just needs an Eddie Hearn interview, you know, and he'll be back in business. Yeah. Remember that, Stu?
I can sit on his grave now, innit? Rest in peace, Matt. Eddie will never forget you.
That interview.
Jeez.
All right.
Did he really embarrass himself like that? I was like, I got Eddie Hearn interview.
Yeah,
he spoke about like his life was complete. Not that he's just got himself a nice woman. His missus is pregnant and he's going to have a family. No, his the greatest moment in his life was getting an interview with Eddie Hearn.
Wow.
And people will remember him when he dies. Unlike Stu, nobody's gonna remember Stu apparently.
Yeah, no one's gonna remember me. Just how I like it.
Just people who seek
fame. I don't want any of you fuckers to remember me. Nah, I'm only joking.
All right. Brandon White said in the comment section, if Spence doesn't fight Mikey, a lot will say Spence dogged him. Do you guys think that's true?
There'll be some fans that say that, yeah. I think so.
But come on, the majority? I mean,
I'm struggling to hear.
That Spence is ducking Mikey if the fight don't happen.
I mean,
So I believe
I
that was
don't.
the question, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, let's be real. It's one of them. It's one of them Lomachenko things. I don't think Lomachenko didn't really want to fight Rigondeaux. He was sort of pushed into it, weren't he? And I think that's probably where Errol's coming from. I mean, let's be real. Why would he duck 100?
Why doesn't he want to fight Lomachenko? I don't understand that.
Bob Arum, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because that's the more logical fight, big money fight for Mikey Garcia.
I don't know. I don't think it would do as much money though.
You think he's gonna get more money for
Yeah, I do.
Spence? Yeah, you're probably right, man.
Yeah.
Brandon White says,
Listen, mate. It's whether you like it or not. It's always big pay-per-view numbers when you get, say, you get an African American against a Mexican on pay-per-view on a Mexican holiday or something. You know the numbers are going to be massive.
Right. Yeah.
Brandon White says, since Garcia has been asking for this fight a lot, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Then Spence is obliged to fight Garcia.
I don't think he's obliged to fight Garcia at all. I think Mikey's obliged to fight Lomachenko, really.
I think I understand the theory there, or this. Take Wilder calling out, Anthony Joshua all the time, right? So it's like whoever Joshua fights, he's ducking Wilder. If it's not Wilder, he's ducking. So the same should apply to if you're that type of person that believes in that. By the way, I don't believe in that shit. But if you do, then by your own criteria of what you consider ducking, then Earl Spence is ducking Mikey Garcia.
I'll tell you what though, if this fight does happen and Mikey somehow managed to pull this off, he's got to be top 3 pound for pound.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think he's a very good fighter.
Because that's really impressive. Going up to 147 and beating Spence.
The problem I see there, I can see him outboxing Earl Spence. It's once Spence hits him. What happens? What happens when Spence? If he's able to take it well, which I doubt it, but if he does, he's gonna beat Earl Spence. He'll beat Earl Spence.
There's no way he'll keep him off him. There's no way he'll be able to keep Spence off him for 12 rounds.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And there's no way he can take Spence's shots. Look at the size of Spence compared to Mikey.
Because Robert Easter Jr. looked a lot bigger than Mikey in there, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this fight happening. I mean, Mikey was calling out Cotto a few months back, and that never happened. I don't think it'll happen. I don't.
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, this fight's going to happen. You can bet your life it will.
Oh,
it makes sense.
We have a bet.
It makes sense. It makes sense money-wise. I'm not saying it makes sense boxing-wise, but money-wise, it makes sense. And let's be real. How many pound pay-per-view fighters are on that list that you showed on that video? You can count them on one hand. If that. Do you know what I mean? So he hasn't got many pay-per-view options. He has to. I mean, you can't keep paying Errol Spence $4 million to fight some nobody. So I think the fight's going to happen. Who else does Errol Spence fight in the PBC camp? Really, unless it's Porter. Porter's got a fight with Danny, so he can't fight Porter right now. Furman's somewhere in fucking Mount Everest with his missus, isn't he, in Nepal?
Yeah.
Who else is there?
I mean, but why can't they? If you look at Deontay Wilder's career, I mean, like the fight before the world title shot against Stavern was Jason Gavin. That was like his 30-second fight. I mean, it's quite like, I know in theory you'd think, fucking hell, they can't have Spence fighting bums forever, but they did it with Wilder. I mean,
I think Heyman had a lot more money then. And he's literally broke now. Like, he's on his last legs. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, but you mean all the more reason bigger fights cost more money. I mean,
I guess so.
He
Yeah, but
still
the way,
might like.
I said though, but the way Heyman's looking at it, right? If say Spence and Mikey, just say they take $7 million each, right? Al Heyman's making $1.5 million for himself out of that fight. So whether anyone else loses money doesn't bother Al Heyman. This is what I'm trying to say to you guys. This guy doesn't care
Yeah, well,
about
that's
spending.
true.
He doesn't care about spending other people's money. What do you think he's paying these fees for? This is not coming out of his pocket. Do you think when Wilder was looking for the $50 million to fight Joshua, that $50 million is not coming from Al Heyman's pocket? He might have some investor or some backer that will put the money up, but he's not getting into his own bank account and giving that $50 million because he'd be a fool to do that.
Well, according to the LBC, Al Heyman's the reason that offer should have been taken seriously. So what you're saying, Stu, is I shouldn't be listening to the LDBC.
Yeah. Nah.
Well, see, that's why I'm calling, man. I'm calling here because I'm going to boycott the BDA for talking bad about the LBC. Boycott the BDA.
Okay.
Just kidding, man. What's up, everybody?
What's up, man?
Yeah, what are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
What's up, bro?
I thought Johnny Gonzalez was in the chat. I thought I saw him somewhere with his hat on.
Hey, man, let me just throw.
I'm here.
To you guys, just to add to your guys' comment, you guys think being that Eddie Hearn is trying to have a sit down with Mikey Garcia? I think it'll be wise if Mikey Garcia would allow Eddie Hearn to help him promote that pay-per-view fight versus Spence, because accordingly to the way it's going, supposedly Spence is a free agent, just like Mikey Garcia.
The fact is that you don't even have to be a free agent. Eddie Hearn can bid for that fight. You do not have to be involved with them fighters. Anyone can bid for a purse bid. Anybody.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of fighters. The thing is with this fight, this fight will get signed without purse bids. They'll come to an agreement. If both camps don't come to agreement, it goes to purse bids, and anybody can go in for. Just like Al Haymon could put in for a Joshua purse bid against Povetkin if they didn't make the deal. So if the deal, they're going to do the deal because they're both Al Haymon. But if they don't, then Eddie Hearn, don't be surprised if he sneaks in and wins the bid. Don't be surprised.
I think it'd be a great idea if Eddie Hearn were to take that particular bid, and being that he got all that money to invest and he has that ad to expand with, and they'll probably bring in more of the U.S. Customers as well into that particular picture, and the Mexican fans.
There's a lot of talk over here actually that like 1 billion wasn't actually 1 billion, and I think there's quite a few clauses on how he can spend it. I don't think they've just give him 1 billion and said do what you like with it, you know.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that $1 billion included,
No, it's half a billion. It's half a billion. It's half a billion over 2 years.
They need to book stadiums. I mean, part of it is part of the expenses.
So what is it? Is it $1 billion over 2 years? Is that the deal?
No, it's a $500 million over 2 years with
$500 million
with the option to renew for another 2 afterwards.
Yeah,
I think Eddie's quite smart. I don't like, even when he was offering Broner money, he wasn't coming in with these ridiculous money that Jay-Z's company, Rock Nation, offered him. He was still sensible with the offers. I don't think he's going to throw this money around like Haymon did, because they've both got different agendas. I do honestly think Hearn does. He does want boxing to do well. I think he does. He wants to see fighters earn money, good money, and I think he generally cares about the sport. Well, Haymon, I just don't think he does. You never see Al Haymon on camera. Very rarely at the events. Do you know what I mean? So
why is he always hiding? Why is he always hiding?
Good businessman.
What's
You know,
going on?
like the reason, a big part of the reason that boxing's sort of like blown up in the UK in the last sort of like few years has been Eddie Hearn. I'm not saying it's all down to him, but he's played quite a significant role in that. Do you know what I mean? He is a good promoter.
Why?
Frank Warren and David Hay basically killed boxing in the UK. Sky,
Yeah, with Woody
Sky.
Harrison.
I remember Sky shutting all boxing off. We could just stop showing boxing. Thanks. No,
Yeah.
Ricky Hatton was another one because Sky had contracts with Warren, Hay Promotions, and Hatton Promotions, and they were putting on garbage, one-sided shit fests. And fucking no one was watching these crappy fights. It was all in like small halls, like the York Hall with about 1,500 people. They were just piss poor events, and I think they got rid of. I think with David Hay, I think with the Audley Harrison thing. I think that after that was the final straw. I think they got rid of him. They got rid of Warren. They got rid of Hatton, and they just stopped showing boxing. And I think because Eddie Hearn had his dad had the darts, and I think that's when they had a word with Sky and said, "Look, we'll do the boxing, but just exclusively with us." And that's what they did. They signed an exclusive deal with Hearn and let him build the boxing back up on Sky Sports because boxing was dead. And that was Frank Warren and David Hay did that.
And you know what, man? Eddie Hearn's making smart moves because despite the fact that Adrian Broner turned him down, Eddie Hearn, he has the rematch, with Jesse Vargas. He has Jesse Vargas on his contract now. So Adrian Broner has no choice if he wants to break that particular rematch. He has to face Eddie Hearn and Jesse Vargas.
Yeah,
at the table. Yeah. So.
Don't be surprised to see Gervonta Davis with Eddie Hearn soon. I don't think he's with Floyd, isn't he?
Yeah, you don't think he's with Heyman? He's with Floyd.
No, he's with Floyd, and I just don't. Yeah, and I think that relationship is on its last legs.
He's been hanging around too much with Adrian Broner. I hope Gervonta Davis doesn't make the decision to go with Adrian Broner as his promoter next. I think Adrian Broner has more to do.
What's their relationship? What's this loyalty that Gervonta Davis has to?
By what I've been seeing, lovers. I think it. Mate.
Yeah, I think it's gay.
yeah, well put.
Fuck.
But there's this I get the sense that Gervonta Davis feels some type of loyalty towards Broner, friendship-wise or whatever.
He's a brother.
Back, they were having a beef between each other, but I think it might be fake, just like that Tekashi 6ix9ine and Broner.
I think they've known. I think they've known each other. I think they've known each other for quite a while. I think since they were kids in the amateurs.
Yeah, boxing.
Hey,
years.
I have to say something. In the fucking chat, boxing is me. We're asking you, who is your number one pound for pound? Just answer the fucking question, man.
Who?
This guy in the chat. Boxing is me.
Wait, he's asking us who's our number one.
No. He's saying that he's saying Golovkin is not a pound for pounder because he has never beaten a pound for pound boxer, which doesn't make sense. So we are asking Boxing is me in the chat. Who is your number one pound for pound? And he can't even answer. It's been like 5-10 minutes, man.
I will ask him. I bet you he likes Terrence Crawford probably. Who has Terrence Crawford beat that was on the pound for pound list?
No one.
Why is he rated so high?
Yeah.
They feel right. Whether you agree or not, they feel that his boxing talent is that good.
I got 3 Eastern Europeans in my top 3.
Why is Earl Spence considered a top pound for pound fighter? He's never beaten a pound for pound fighter. If you count Kell Brook, maybe, right? But that's a maybe.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that don't consider Kell Brook a pound for pound fighter. Top 10, at least.
I think Crawford, although he hasn't got great names on his well, I think he deserves to be on the list. He's number 4 on my list.
Yeah, he's on my top.
Crawford's
I agree with you.
Crawford, for me, is one of the best fighters in the world based on what I see in the ring.
Yeah,
but he hasn't got the names yet for me. He just hasn't.
He hasn't beaten a top pound for pound fighter.
No.
In my opinion, let's say if he was to fight Earl Spence next, just hypothetically speaking, and beat him, Earl Spence is not a top pound for pound fighter on my list either. You understand?
No.
He got one good win over Kell Brook. In terms of I think his wins are impressive. Don't get me wrong. I like the knockouts. I'm a big fan of knockouts, so I'm gonna always rate those high.
Yeah.
But the level of competition does not tell me that he's a definite pound for pound fighter. And if you don't have him in your list, you don't know nothing about boxing. So that whole theory of who has Golovkin beat to be a top pound for pound fighter, to me it's not a valid argument. He's fought in his weight class, dominated his weight class.
Okay, now
That's what makes him a pound for pound fighter to me.
let me just say
Yeah, I mean,
something.
look, if you look at
Let me just say
Golovkin,
something.
like
Hold on.
a lot
'Cause-
of the guys that he's beaten, even though they weren't pound for
Jesus.
pound guys, were top 10 guys in at middleweight at the time he beat them. Lemieux was, Gil was a world champion. You know, like Danny Jacobs, he clearly beat Canelo. So, I mean, you know, even though that's down as a draw, come on, he like everybody that knows what they're looking at knows he beat Canelo. So there's a pound for pound guy, surely.
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
Yeah, 'cause if-
hold on. Let me just say something. Boxing is me.
I actually
It's
get
a
that point
fucking
of view.
idiot. Okay, this guy boxing is me in the chat. He keeps shitting on Golovkin. He doesn't even want to answer why. Who is his number one pound for pounder? All right, this is the reason why. Because this fucking idiot fucked it up. He said that Golovkin is not a pound for pounder because he has never beaten a pound for pounder. Okay, he can't put Crawford in there because Crawford has never beat a pound for pounder. Right?
Yeah.
He can't put Spence there because he's never beaten a pound for pounder. So he just fucked himself up. That's why he doesn't want to fucking answer the question. So now boxing is me. You're gonna get your ass fucking blocked because I asked you like 10 fucking times.
No, but he won that fuck. Canelo's on my list. Apparently, this Rigondeaux was in everybody's list, a pound for pound superstar
Right.
from Cuba. I mean, you know, this guy. So yes, Lomachenko has beat a pound for pound fight because everyone had Rigondeaux in the list. He was on it. You guys had him in the
rules.
You guys had him in the top 3, top 4. Now all of a sudden, he can barely make the top 50.
now they agree with some people that said, "Look, I'm not sold on Rigondeaux. I don't see anything that's so." Look, I've been not to.
I've been saying it for
look,
years.
I've been saying, me too. Stu. I thought he was a very good fighter at what he does, but in terms of like greatness, like oh my god, at 122, he would have probably beat Pacquiao. I'm like, no, I never seen that. I never got that impression from him.
All I heard was, Lomachenko's getting his jaw broke. Rigo breaks.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Like a lot of the people that shit on Loma now, we're picking Rigo to beat him.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. He beat Jazza Dickens. He broke Jazza Dickens' jaw. I mean, I'm quite convinced if I clocked Jazza Dickens on the chin, I'd break his jaw. So, you know, if he was doing that to Lomachenko, if anything, he broke his hand on Lomachenko's jaw. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But you know what? Even though, man, the pound for pound topic is subjective. It's very entertaining to discuss among boxing fans. My particular top five is in order: GGG, Canelo. I got Mikey Garcia, Terence Crawford, and AJ. Those are my top 5. Basically by their skills and the way they handle themselves in the ring.
You gotta have Usyk on there.
I've got Lomachenko 1. I've got Golovkin 2. I've got Usyk 3. I've got Crawford 4. Canelo Alvarez 5.
And you know what? Those lists, I can understand why you guys have them there. Look, do I disagree? Maybe just a little bit, but I'm not going to sit there and say, you guys are stupid. You don't know nothing about boxing. And I hate when people do this, it's a fact kind of thing. It's factual that if I think Triple G is number 1 pound for pound, for me to go out there and say those are based on facts, not my opinion. That's not my opinion. It's factual. Where's the pound for pound rules and parameters of what makes a fighter pound for pound the best? It's all really subjective. If you even listen to people say what the boxing experts consider pound for pound, right? So
I mean, I just think Usyk. I think what he did when he unified that division was a lot more impressive than what Crawford did at 140 when he unified that.
I agree.
100%.
I totally agree with you on that. I agree that what the tournament, style.
It's not just that though. Look at how many. I mean, Glowacki's beat him. He's beat them all, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Who's the other guy? He went to Latvia to fight Bradus. The guy went to Russia to fight. He went to Russia to fight Gassiev.
It's still where did he win these fights? Where did he win them?
Away from home.
Right. So it's like, okay, I don't get it. Why certain boxing fans change, right? The rules when it doesn't fit, their fighters that they root for profile, right? Like they're not. I gave Errol Spence a ton of respect for beating Kell Brook in the UK. I was pretty impressed by Errol Spence that he's willing to take that fight in the UK. Now, I think that there were some circumstances to that fight, but still, I give him a whole lot of credit to win. That's not me dissing Errol Spence because I thought that there was circumstances that benefited Errol Spence going into that fight, like being totally healthy, number one, not having to cut down 13 pounds from his last fight, right? Those are all things that I thought that benefited Errol Spence. But until that fight happened, Errol Spence was basically an unknown, and I would have not been shocked if Kell Brook would have beat him. So that's what makes, to me, Errol Spence beating Kell Brook impressive, because I would have not been shocked if Kell Brook would have won the fight. It would have not shocked me.
Is Boxing E related to X? Because they sound alike.
Yeah, they are.
Hey, by the way, Boxing E, you're still there? Boxing ME, whatever your name is. You're on a fucking timeout. Because I asked you, and everybody was asking you, who your number one pound for pounder is. You can't even answer it. So you're on a fucking timeout. We're going to waterboard you till you fucking answer the question, man.
This is a guy that runs everyone down. But yeah, he said Joseph Parker was an Eddie Hearn fighter earlier in the chat, in the comments section of one of our videos. So, well, you get things wrong as well, but we're not paid to put, well, I just pointed it out being petty because he's getting too petty now, so he needs to be told.
Who did he say was an Eddie Hearn fighter? Who?
Joseph Parker.
Right.
BDA asking me to put him on the show. This guy's never gonna show up. But hey, if you're still there, come on.
Exclusive in the chat.
That's BDA.
That's actual BDA, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's calling me a bum.
BDA is too busy running that cartel over there in Montreal, wherever he's at.
Yeah.
Do you mean the gay strip club?
Well, that's what I was talking about. It's run by a cartel.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, man, all that pound for pound shit is, come on, man. Like,
it's subjective.
Don't take it too serious. Yeah, don't take it too. It's like low plays. I like low plays, and I think that he knows how to talk boxing.
Because he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, that's Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? I know he denies it, but that's my Puerto Rican brethren right there. It's okay. It's fine. Listen, I understand. Puerto Ricans get a bad rap, but anyway. But it's not factual that Bottle Jack and fucking Adonis Stevenson are the two best fighters in the world. It's not. It's an opinion. If I don't agree with it, but if you do and you can make a case for it, I'm willing to listen. But it still wouldn't make it factual. It's just not. Okay, you got two guys that got knocked out before in the past, so there's some people that are going to hold that against them. Not saying I do. I'm not saying I hold that against him, because I think one of the greatest fighters in the history of boxing is Manny Pacquiao. He's been knocked out 3 times. Okay, and I still think he's one of the greatest fighters to ever lace up a pair of gloves.
Yeah, man, those L's don't mean shit. And getting knocked out don't mean nothing, man. Because what really matters is putting on a good show for the fights. I mean, just look at Orlando Salido with like 14 losses on his record, and every fight towards the end of his career was just as entertaining as anybody else.
I think, to me, Salido's a Hall of Famer. I consider Salido a Hall of Fame fighter. That's my opinion.
Joe Louis, arguably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, got knocked spark out by fucking Max Smelling. But we don't say, he's a bum because he lost to Max Smelling. He's still one of the greats. So who was it that said that if you haven't got a defeat on your record, you've not been fighting the right people? And he's got a point. Yeah. I can't remember, someone said it. If you haven't got a defeat on your record.
Sugar Ray Robinson lost 19 fights, right? He fought 200. He had 200 fights. But he lost 19 of those bouts. Okay, so do historians hold that against Sugar Ray Robinson for losing 19 professional boxing fights? Of course not.
He got knocked out by... Well, did he get knocked out by Randolph Turpin, didn't he?
No, he only been knocked out once. That was by that light heavyweight. I think it's
I
Joe
thought,
Jackson.
did Turpin stop him then? Or did Turpin
No,
win on point?
Turpin beat him on points. It was a good
Ah,
fight the first time. I think the first fight was in somewhere in Europe where Turpin was living at, and
Yeah,
then
it was Liverpool.
and then he went to Liverpool. Excuse me. Then he went to
Yeah,
I guess it was like part of their agreement. He went to America. I think it was in New York, the Polo Grounds, and they fought a second fight, and it was a good fight, but Sugar Ray Robinson stopped him.
Yeah, beat the shit out of him, didn't he?
This is the post Mayweather era.
Especially,
Undefeated records are what counts. And you've seen fighters like Broner try to keep that 0. It's like nobody cares about that shit. It's who you fight and who. It doesn't matter if you fall, man.
Bucho, it's not about who you fight. It's about keeping the 0. Like I hear a lot of people say, there's a lot of Wilder fans that think that Wilder might be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and I'm like, you're not basing that on resume. I know that.
Yeah.
You can't be. They're basing it on the 0
Gervonta
and his high knockout percentage.
Exactly. Gervonta Davis could be bragging right now about his 0, okay? But we all know he didn't fight Lomachenko. Now, he could have fought Lomachenko, and he probably would have lost. But nobody cares. I would have been like, well, he was too young, and he fought Lomachenko, and he lost. Like Canelo did. Like Canelo fought Mayweather. He got a loss. Okay, whatever. Move on.
You know what? Sometimes that 0, that undefeated record, plays against you in the long run. I mean, some might call you a cherry picker. Some might call you that you avoid it. Look at Andre Ward. You stay on topic with the fights. We got Sergey Kovalev, who was, in my opinion, he was robbed twice. You know, the first one he was robbed on points. Second one he was robbed by the judge. You know what I mean? And I truly do believe that ElDude Alvarez, the Colombiano man, he's gonna put up a great, more entertaining fight than Ward ever did versus Sergey Kovalev. I think the fans are really gonna enjoy this fight.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look at Denis Lebedev. Look at Lebedev. Lebedev in America is not like a well-known fighter, but is it safe to say that Lebedev might be one of the greatest cruiserweight fighters? I mean, is it that far fetched to say he was one of the great ones?
He's in I think he's in my top 7. I've got him at number 7, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look,
man, the guy is and he's not, he's not like universally known, especially here in the States or in the Western world when it comes to boxing. But he is to me, talent-wise, he's one of the best fighters to fight in that weight class. I thought so.
I think that Guillermo Jones fight took a lot out of him. Never the same fighter after that.
Yeah, Guillermo Jones was huge in that fight, man.
He was a heavyweight, brother. He was a big heavyweight in there. He looked like Riddick Bowe in there. He looked like Riddick Bowe in there.
How he didn't kill Lebedev is beyond me, but
yeah, man.
Show you how Lebedev is a good fighter.
Yeah, and he didn't put him down. Like he also goes to show how strong. Yeah,
Mike Tyson to me is one of the greatest fighters ever. Why I think Mike Tyson is one of the greatest fighters ever? He was always the smaller man in the ring.
Yeah.
Forget about the resume. Forget about the look. Yes, did he fall short against the big elite heavyweights? He did. But he's one of the greats to me because he was always significantly the smaller guy in that ring.
I'll tell you what. Can you imagine if the cruiserweight division was worth him losing that little bit of weight to go and fight cruiserweight? I mean, he'd have cleaned that division out for years, wouldn't he?
Oh man,
yeah,
he might have cleaned it out.
Well, that's kind of what Holyfield kind of did. He was kind of pretty much a buffed up.
Hey guys, hey
Stu, Jimmy.
You were just mentioning what's going on, everybody. First off,
Jimmy.
You were just mentioning Sugar Ray Robinson, how he had 19 losses, which he did, because believe me, I'm not one who buys into that fucking, once Floyd did sell that, didn't he? Didn't he turn that into a pile of money? He fucking crazy. That was another good thing he did for him. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't Sugar Ray go something like 121-1 with like 80 something knockouts before he lost? I mean, it was crazy, right?
I think he was 96-1 when he fought Turpin, and he lost that one.
No, Stu. He was 128-1.
What, when he fought Turpin?
When he fought Turpin, he was 128-1 and then lost that fight.
Seriously, he was 128.
Yeah, to me, he's the greatest fighter of all time.
Right.
I've watched
He
so
went.
much video. I don't think I've ever seen anything. I've not seen anything on tape on him. I've seen everything, studied it. He's by far, in my opinion, the greatest fighter all around there ever was.
I think with Robinson, I just think he was ahead of his time when it comes to skills. I just think, you know, what I mean,
He might have been, yeah. From the
Yeah.
videos I've seen, Stu, and to Jimmy's point,
The rage,
he looked
everything
like-
worked into his favor.
Also,
He was built to be a fighter.
I think
he was
Robinson's
a big welterweight for that
he's a
time,
sort
and a
of
big middleweight.
yeah. I think
Very
he's a sort
angry
of guy
man too.
you could drag him out of that era, and I think he'd do okay in this era, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, listen,
Well, he was
to
tough
put it
as
in
nails. He could
content,
take a shot.
to put it in content, right? If I think the way he fought now, I mean, the way he fought back then, against guys like, let's say, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, and all, I think those guys might beat him.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
they
saying?
would.
I think those, because of the skill, the way it evolves through time, right? But let's say his skill set evolved as well to the time of today, right? Where he was ahead of his time, and if he was ahead of this time, he would have been forget it. You know what I'm saying? It would have been
I think
it's like any other sport, man. It's like soccer, football, basketball. I mean, it's like back then they had, you know, it evolved. You know,
it's like Lomachenko. And when we see Lomachenko's skills, he's ahead of his time, and I think that's
agreed.
I disagree on that.
I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's
disagree.
what Sugar Ray Robinson was back then. Just skilled wise, just far better than everyone else. I mean,
I disagree a little bit with what you say
with that
about
resume,
Lomachenko,
man. I mean,
because,
he fought.
you guys
He fought
remember
Jake LaMotta
Orlando
6 times.
Casares? No, but just saying that I agree. I disagree a little bit on what you say about Lomachenko being ahead of his time, because those particular skills we've seen them before, like Orlando Casares. It's very similar to what Lomachenko is trying to do in the ring, and to me, he's trying to imitate Orlando Casares, who is one of my most favorite.
Who is that? Who is that? ElDude? Who are you talking about?
Orlando Casares.
Oh wow! You know something? I gotta look back. Yeah, there is a similar there's a similar fighting style to that.
Yeah, he
I
had
never
a brother
thought
who was
about that.
also a pro. Yeah, his brother.
Right. Was he a lefty?
You know what? That guy switched up, but
he switched styles. Or no, he was an orthodox fighter.
But that guy was awesome, man. If you
Yeah,
guys
he
go
did
look at his
he did the angle. He tried to. He always tried to go different angles, like Lomachenko. He did. That is true. I don't know what. I forgot what his record was,
but Prince Nassim Hamid did that as well. He punched from angles that fighters weren't used to them shots coming from them angles. It was horrible. It was horrible defensively, but offensively, that's why he was so. That's why he was so devastating. That's exactly why he was so devastating. It was coming from angles that fighters weren't seeing.
It's boxing, you know what I mean? There's only so much you can do different. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do different. In Lomachenko, yes, there might be other fighters, styles you'll notice. Oh, I've seen other fighters do that. I've seen other fighters do that. But I can tell you, in my fucking half a century on the planet, I have never seen anybody does everything so good, from balance to his angles, his quickness, how close he can fight in tight. I mean, he's making world-class fighters look stupid when he's in their grill. You know what I mean? Like making them, what he was doing, a regular, like leaning over him. It's crazy. I'm telling you. I watched his last fight with Mickey Ward. Mickey was just grabbing his head going, holy fucking shit.
You know what I would like to see him do? You know what I would like to see him do,
Who are
Jimmy?
you talking about?
Yeah.
If Lomachenko if he gets this down pack, and he might have to one day, right? He might have to one day. When that dude starts to faint more, he might be a real fucking problem. Like, that's the only thing that I see. I've seen him faint, but he doesn't use it as part of his tactic. Maybe he doesn't.
Well, his feints are very subtle. See, feints you can get. A lot of people get tired. Like you'll see certain fighters, like take Adonis Stevenson. If you go back and watch that fight, right, he feinted himself out those feints were so over exaggerated and too much movement. When you're fighting in tight, you're elite, man. Just a simple shoulder roll. Sometimes just a twitch of your fucking shoulder will get someone to bite, right? You know what I mean? So Lomachenko, he'll do it with that hand. You see that hand he's circling, that left hand? That mentally exhausts you. I'm telling you, that's what Mickey was saying. Mickey said, dude, that would get me so tired. I'd be so fucking tired just trying to watch him. And he gets you in a trance. And his father's teaching him things that he does. And listen, a lot of his skills are dependent on his fast twitch fibers, which he knows aren't going to hang around much longer. Those usually start to deteriorate around 34. You know,
34,
and normally, right, in normal cases. So he's very dependent on his fast twitch fibers. And as long as he lives, and I'm sure he lives a Spartan lifestyle. I saw a meme after he fucking, just for getting caught with that shot. Somebody put a meme where he was in a box and his father wasn't letting him watch TV. But yeah, so he does it. It's a mastery. He literally has taken, like everything. The Russians did it with hockey. They taught that they changed the whole North American game was changed over after the late 80s. Changed it. We adopted to their style. His father has definitely done some revolutionary shit. And is it no surprise his father trained Usyk?
Yeah, and to add to that point real quick, Lomachenko, you talk about the game evolving. You watch Lomachenko what he does out of the ring, outside his mental game. How he there's one exercise where there's just like numbers on the wall, and he tries to count them from 1 to 100, but they're all jumbled up and upside down.
He has to
and
tap
it's all
it
about that
right up with
mental
his
game.
hand. Insane to keep his fucking. It was the
Yeah.
same thing with Tretiak, the goalie for Russia. He was doing all these crazy shit. People at first were laughing, right? And now, within 5 years, every goalie in the NHL was doing it. His father has him doing. He walks up and down stairs on his fists. You know how hard that is to do, like shoulder
That's
push-ups
fucking
upside
hard.
down, doing handstands. He does a bunch of
Those
push-ups and brutal.
those give you tremendous strength in your wrists, your forearms. If you do it the right way, I could do upside down push-ups, right? I'm not saying I could do them like him, but I can do them. And the benefit from it, it builds your traps. Yeah, it'll build, your neck, the strength in your neck and your traps, really. But what it's really meant for, it's those twitches, those muscles that we have in our forearms. Jimmy, I'm sure you're a guy that
Fast twitch fibers.
right.
Your
So
fast
I don't have to.
twitch
Okay, so in
fibers.
a boxing fight, think about it. I'm fighting a guy. Sometimes I don't have time to generate powers from my shoulder. I can generate if I can just generate it from my wrist, right, and make you feel it. I have an advantage because it's gonna get there faster. It's gonna get there faster because I don't have to cock back. You know what we call cocking back, where we generate that power coming from our shoulder down to our biceps and triceps all the way. He can do that, and I watched that Regal fight very carefully. He was hurting him with wrist shots. Boom, boom, stiff wrist shot. Boom, boom, to the point where Regal. This is just my opinion. Regal said, "This guy's gonna kill me. He's gonna hurt me bad. I need to stop. I'm not gonna beat him.
Yep.
He's gonna end up knocking me out with those wrist shots because he's gonna be able to cock one back. And level me. That's what he does, man. The guy's a great fighter.
Listen, you make an excellent point. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Just real quick, you make an excellent point because think about it. Nobody would quit if they weren't getting hurt. You know what I mean?
No.
So much for an embarrassment, but listen, there's got to be pain involved too. Like Walters, he wasn't just embarrassing Walters; he was touching him up. His eyes were swollen. So it's like, all right, you're humiliating. Plus, he's fucking hurt. The kid can hit. He's got power, and he doesn't really sit down on his punches. I'm sure that his father's smart. He'll notice. His father does everything with a stopwatch. He will notice his twitch fibers probably slowing down, and then he'll try to incorporate something else. He'll incorporate, okay, you're going to have to start planting your feet, and you're going to have to utilize your power. You take what you got, basically, and I think his father's the right guy. All right, Stu, sorry, brother, go.
No problem, bro. No, I was just going to say, Lomachenko frustrates the hell out of fighters. That's what impressed me about Linares. Although he was getting tagged up and scored at certain times, he kept going, he kept trying, and he kept doing. He kept himself in the fight, and it's the only guy I've really seen do that against Lomachenko. He just frustrates the hell out of. It's like when you're on a computer game and you're on a level on a game that you just can't do, and you end up throwing your fucking control pad on the floor and breaking it. You're throwing your toys out the pram. And I think that's what a lot of these fighters do. They're getting tagged up. They can't hit the guy. They're frustrated, and they find the easy way out because like I said, Lomachenko's going to play with you for a few rounds, frustrate you, and then he's going to take you out in the latter rounds.
He's a great.
These guys have robbed
athlete,
Lomachenko.
man.
Hang on a sec, bro. These guys have robbed Lomachenko KOs by quitting on their stools. Let's remember that.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's like he makes that adjustment throughout. Some fighters, this is what I get. The Jason Sosa guys like that, you could see him taking full swings on guys like that. With Rigo, he didn't have time for that. He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna embarrass this dude, but I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna hit this dude with what I call my wrist shots, bap, 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 bap. And I'm gonna start getting a little stiffer, where I'm gonna start shaking his body, and people are gonna say, why did he quit? You know what I'm saying? But you got to go back and look at Lomachenko when he starts pointing at him. He says, "You're mine now." Why did he say that? He said, "You're mine," because he started to realize now he could throw stiff shots with more intention. Now I got you down packed.
You see Rigondeaux, how frustrated when they took the point away from Rigondeaux? You see the look of defeat in his face? He was done right there. He was absolutely done. And the thing is, if you notice in that fight, if you really watched that fight, which I'm sure you all guys did, tell me or point to a, because I've yet to see it, but point to a part where you would say, yes, he was able to do that because of his size. It looked to me like everything he was doing it purposely. Like anytime he was grabbing or mauling or trying to use size, it was Rigondeaux grabbing. He was violently pulling away. He was, even when he was up over, he would lean over him, but not grab him. He wouldn't maul him. I think that was his, because he's not stupid. He heard what everybody would, and he knew what everybody would say, the size thing. So to me, if you really watched it, really break it down, he wasn't
You know what I
size.
saw in that particular fight with Lomachenko facing Rigondeaux? I think that's where it showed that he learned his mistakes. What he showed versus Orlando Salido, because he was too green in that particular fight versus Salido. But that shows you that mentality. That shows you the mentality of Lomachenko. Why he's
Yo, ElDude,
master boxer, man.
we can barely hear you, man. We can barely hear you.
Oh, my bad, man.
Yeah, it's okay.
ElDude is right. In that fight, he learned a lot. And think about how good he is. Look, I thought that was a close fight. That's just my opinion. That fight was close. I slightly had Lomachenko beating Salido. I have no problem. If they want to give it to Salido, that's fine. The fight's over. Salido, to me, is a great fighter. That's my opinion. He's a great fighter, and I think he'll go down as one of the as a Hall of Famer. Not one of the greatest, but I think he's going to go down as a Hall of Famer. But since that fight, you can see that he learned other stuff from that, how to stay away at the right time from getting hit to the body or the nuts or whatever the case may be, learning how to use his forearms and press it on his opponents just so that they won't get, they won't come up and accidentally hit him with a headbutt that could fuck up his rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about feeling comfortable. It's all about feeling comfortable.
It definitely built the inside game.
And didn't it make? I think to myself that made him a tough fighter too. That fight right there made him a tough fighter.
That was the best thing that ever happened to him. Believe it. But absolutely, to fight somebody that way, because think about it. You guys follow fucking amateur boxing. So, I mean, those guys bow to each other. They have to hit with the white part of the glove. It's so gentlemanly like compared to the pros. Like, that's one thing a lot of people don't follow. Amateurs don't realize the difference. What it comes down to is the mugging, the shit you can get away with. And Lomachenko knew his skills. He just didn't grasp it. I'm sure people try to tell him it's a different game. And to take on Salido for a second fight, listen, the establishment was against him. Nobody wanted him to win that fight because it was over. It was too much. It was too cocky. You don't come on like that. So nobody really wanted to like the kid. I know I didn't, because it was just kind of, I don't like people come on like that, but whatever. And of course, he won me over. The kid is what he is. You know what I mean? He's talented. But I
think Bob Arum did a terrible job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He shouldn't have done that quick.
Well, I don't know if it was Bob Arum's fault or was it more Lomachenko's fault?
I don't know.
That was a part, from what I was told, that was a part of the signings, Stu. I was told part of Bob was able to get him because he came into the thing knowing who he was, right? And his very cocky said, I want to fight for a belt within 3 fights. That's what I was told by somebody.
It's nothing to do with that. My point is, he should never have let Lomachenko take the fight when Salido came in like 4 pounds overweight.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. You're right.
147 pound on the night. I wouldn't have put him in with Salido for a second fight. I agree. I agree with what you boys said. Lomachenko came in there with a very amateur style. You know, it was like the point system, that sort of style. He was fighting to
Right,
win.
he was too cocky. I think he was too cocky. I think he might have thought like, yeah, I know who you are, Salido, but I'm still gonna beat you at my game. I'm gonna beat you at my game. I'm gonna make you fight my game. That kind of thing. And he kind of learned in that fight, like, no, that's not how it goes. You know, you're gonna have to learn how to fight rough fighters like this.
The first 5 rounds, look how many times he looked at the ref. His eyes were like fucking deers in a headlight. He's like, wow, you can do that? He was shocked.
Yeah, but
you know what
I like about Lomachenko? He never complained after the fight. He could have said, and there would have been hundreds of other fighters in the same position as Lomachenko that would have made a complaint. He said, look, I lost that fight. It is what it is. That's it.
Right? No, he did.
He didn't say, I think I won the fight.
Oh, he came in overweight.
He came in. No, I lost that fight. I would love another crack at him, right? And I learned from that fight, and it is what it is. It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And you know what about Lomachenko, man? If I may say something, I think he saved the whole elusive part of the styles of boxing. Because if we remember back when Floyd Mayweather or Lara or even Reagan Dukes, a lot of the critique was that they're running too much. And what Vasyl Lomachenko is doing, he's showing you that, look, man, boxing is all about many different skills. And being elusive, you know, having footwork, using the ring to your advantage, it could also be entertaining, man. But the only way you can have to be entertaining is if you're actually engaging and actually
engaging, right?
I agree. I agree exactly what you said. He's showing that you can be defensive.
And what about that Linares
and
knockout,
still be?
man? That was so smart on his look. I'm not trying to convince anybody that Lomachenko. Just go look at that. How he set that up, man. He just like out of nowhere. It goes back to those, you know, those fast twitches in his arm. He's like setting them up, hitting them up upstairs. You know, then out of nowhere, boom, take one to the body. And he wasn't like trying to knock him out with a body shot. It was just it hurt him. But it caught him off guard. It caught him so off guard that it finished him. It finished Linares.
And you got shitbags trying to fucking talk down Linares. Oh, you using the, shut up. Linares is fucking unbelievable.
Linares was blown out early in his career because he was too green.
Yeah.
Linares lost this fight because he was outgunned. That's more impressive to me. Okay, he was outgunned in this fight. He gave it his best. You saw him drop Lomachenko. Come on, you can't take that away from Linares. It takes a good fighter to go in there and able to punch with a fighter like that and drop him.
His combinations are like butter. They're so fucking smooth. Are you kidding me? He throws combinations. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think the speed was actually quicker than Lomachenko at times when he was letting his hands go. Very, very good fight.
From point A to point B, I would say there was moments. Yeah, from the starting point to getting to where it needs to get to. Yeah. I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was time.
Anyone that doesn't appreciate Lomachenko's boxing ability just doesn't know anything about the sport. You know, say he's a hype job. He's not pound for. I mean, I just don't know what you guys want.
But then again, everybody would be a hype job then, right? I mean, listen, look, going back to this whole thing, who has he beaten the pound for pound? How many fighters on the pound for pound today have beaten other pound for pound fighters? How many?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was fucking saying.
Bucho, if there's so many guys with undefeated records on the pound for pound list, right? It goes to tell you they obviously didn't beat no top pound for pound fighters. Because the math don't add up.
Even if you got Errol Spence on there, you can't name no pound for pound fights he's beat.
Right, you can't.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, this guy's full of shit. Then he backtracked. He's like, "Oh, Crawford's my number one pound for pounder because he unified the division." I'm like, okay.
Okay, he unified the division.
Like beating in Dongo.
Yeah, but we've just said Usyk did it in far better fashion,
Exactly.
in far less fights, in far better fashion, and he has much better resume as well. He's got other opponents and he's done it all on the road. You can't. You cannot
exactly.
Yeah, you can't compare Ndonga to Garcia.
Yeah.
What Crawford did was impressive. Anytime anybody unifies, that's an impressive thing.
Of course,
but resume matters. Postel is his best win. I mean, is that his best win?
Yeah.
Just put it well. Josh Taylor just beat Postol and had him all over the place.
Beltran.
That's what I'm saying. It is
Ray
what
Beltran.
it is. And don't get me wrong, I think he's the best transitional fighter coming from Southpaw. He does it so smoothly. I think he's a very talented kid. There's no knock against his talent, but he hasn't fought anybody. And again, we all have we know this game good enough. We know what the eye test means. You can see that kid. That kid's got it. All right, without a doubt. And it's maybe not even his fault. And I don't think he's ducking anybody, but you can't deny the facts. He hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah, and when he does fight someone, you notice he's kind of dirty. Like compare U6 win to Garcia versus Crawford and Postol. Crawford was very dirty in that fight.
Great point.
U6 sitting clean.
Great point. Apology.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Crawford is a good talent, man. I agree with that. He's a very good talent, a pound for pound talent. I agree with that as well. But to use this argument to go against, you got to be careful when you got to like argue to yourself, and see if somebody can counter your argument. If you're a Terrence Crawford guy and you're like, man, Terrence Crawford is the best pound for pound fighter. This is the reason why, because he unified. He's won in 3 different weight classes, and you know. And this and this and that, but I'm gonna shit on the other guy, Triple G, because I don't think he beat anybody on the pound for pound list. But then, okay, time out. Now I can counter the argument because neither has Terrence Crawford.
No, exactly.
He hasn't beaten a top pound for pound fighter.
I think Steve Kim says it: double standards, no standards. Says it all the time. It's insane. It's so outwardly. They do it so outwardly that they don't even care when you bring it to their attention. Like, dude. By your own logic, you're fucking slicing the legs out of your own argument. Oh, fucking. And then, you know, but the problem is if you push the issue too hard, then next thing you know, you're a fucking alt-right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, look, Crawford, one fight, if I was going to sell people on Crawford, if I was going to say, you know, I want you to watch a Crawford fight. There are fights that I'm going to point to. There are certain fights that I'm not going to point to, which tells you, at least for me, that in my opinion, he's a flawed fighter. That doesn't mean he's not a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. Most guys are. I'm not going to tell you go watch the Posto fight. That was a shit fight. You know what I'm saying?
Can I guys?
I'm going to tell you go watch Ndango. Go watch the Ndango fight. Go watch the best fight to me. Go watch the Diaz fight. That's the fight where I would say go watch that fight and tell me what you think about the man. You know, but there are certain fights that I will stay away from. Gamboa, Postal. Gamboa showed how to hurt this man. Gamboa showed this is how you hurt a fighter like this. You punch with him, okay, and there's a good chance you're gonna get one in, especially early in the fight. And the Postal fight. This was a man that was intimidated to box toe-to-toe. I think that Postol had a beat on him that he wasn't going to fight him toe-to-toe. You know what I'm saying? So he was going to use other stuff to win that fight.
Well, I can tell you this. I have a buddy who works over in I'm having a brain fart. Fucking Top Rank. Anyways, he was telling me that all the brass there was not happy on how he handled that fight, especially at the end. Your first pay-per-view, and you dance away the last 3 rounds. Like, I mean, purposely not engaging, like walking away and shit.
And he could have.
Dude, come on.
He could have.
He was scared of Posto.
That was a bad look.
What I mean by that is, I'm not saying he's scared, like, oh my God, please somebody hide me. No.
No, he might have rung his bell. He might have caught him. He might have not liked the fucking taste of his shots, and he just said, fuck it. I'm not going to risk it.
Jimmy. Exactly, Jimmy.
Listen, the thing is, fucking guys who want it, you want to fill the crowds, you want people buying your pay-per-views. They don't care if you win or lose at the end of the day. They want to see you give it all. Why do you think Mickey Ward, it still humbles him when people come up to him and they're like, and I'm like, Mickey, you don't understand, dude, because you were fucking swallowing, you know, you had to have your stomach pumped. You swallowed so much blood, dude. You're probably going to die early because of those fights, but you wouldn't quit. You know, people see that and they're like, yeah, because everybody puts themselves in your fucking shoes saying, fuck, it's just, you know what I mean? It's that it reaches down to that animal magnetism, 2 dudes just going toe to toe, right? And when you see somebody, especially when you know they're winning and they're just dancing away and you're like, wow, I just spent $80 to watch this. I'd rather go out on the fucking bar and watch 2 fucking drunks throw hands. At least I know somebody's going to get bloody.
It's it's their choice. If these fighters want to fight in a boring fashion and not win any fans, that's fine. It's their choice. But then the fans also have the choice not to buy your fights. So these fighters
that's the best good point. And then what happens? Oh, nobody supports the black fighters. But if you're going to
exactly.
fight
That's
in
what I
that
was gonna say.
style,
Don't cry.
you're not going to gain fans.
Don't
I mean, it's
cry.
as simple as that.
It's just entitlement, Jimmy. Everyone thinks they're entitled to big paydays when they're not.
Oh, you're talking about like Garcia? I mean,
Just
there's another
everyone in
kid,
general.
incredible,
Garcia, Charlo,
incredibly
everyone.
talented kid, right? Incredibly talented. But are you kidding me? Is another one. My quick opinion on him, because my girl's kind of waving at me. Let's look at what he's done. To me, he's jumped around the divisions, right? Picking off the easiest perceived title. That's, again, my opinion. He left he left a contract that he signed. He's like, yeah, so he bailed on that. And then what was his parting words? I want more control of my own career. So what does he do? He fucking signs with Al Haymon, the guy that gives you the least amount. And now he's an exclusive fighter with Showtime, still barking the fucking, the whole free agent bullshit. He does inside the ring. His talent is unbelievable. It's the shit he does outside the ring. And again, I think he panders to fucking clickbait YouTube channels. And, so that's my thing on Garcia. I just see a lot of people arguing about him on Twitter and shit. And I'm like, listen, there's no denying his talent. But you cannot say he hasn't done a lot of questionable shit. And the contradiction to me, I don't like that shit. You have in one interview saying 140, I'm at a physical disadvantage, but then at the next breath say, and again, my whole thing on that is, all that is a bargaining chip, because he knows he has to make the Lomachenko fight. And what is he going to do if he doesn't have bargaining chips? It's what it's all about, leverage. Okay, Bob, fuck it. Because Bob's he's released statements saying it's like worse than negotiating with Trump with that kid. You know what I mean? So he knows what's going to be like, so that's leverage. Oh, well, fuck it. You ain't going to give me what I want. I'm going to fight Spence. Pay-per-view. Fuck you. See you later. That's all that is. But he's not going to 147. But.
Let me ask you guys a question. Being that Mikey Garcia is moving up, Lomachenko staying down, those are the fight that we want to see. Who should Lomachenko fight next? Because I want to see him give Linares a rematch. Do you guys think Linares deserves a rematch? Do you guys want to see that rematch?
No, he beat him.
Not really.
Clearly.
Not yet.
I think he beat him clearly, but if let's say Linares comes off and like gets some impressive wins in the next year or two, right? Then we start talking a little different, because the one thing that would stand to me is that he was able to punch with Lomachenko, and he did drop him, so that could be more entertaining. But if he's like, not really. I'll give you just a hypothetical. Let's say he went in. Let's say he goes up in weight for whatever reason, goes to 140 and fucking knocks out Prograis. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just goes up there, beats the shit out of Prograis, knocks him out. Right after Prograis goes on a nice little run where maybe he even wins the tournament. Let's just use that as an example. Yeah, then I could see him with a rematch with Lomachenko. What I think Lomachenko should do. Is probably stay at 135, see if one of these guys at 140 become a star. If Mikey is really committed to going to welterweight, because even though I don't think Mikey's going to be a good welterweight in terms of size, I definitely don't think Lomachenko, at least right now, will do well at welterweight. Can he outbox most of those guys? I can see that, but will he lose his speed going up to 147? And will be a comfortable way for Lomachenko to go up to welterweight. Can he do what Manny Pacquiao was doing when he first came to welterweight, fighting at 142 pounds, 141 pounds? Can he do that? Remember Manny Pacquiao going in the ring as a welterweight, 142? He made the fight at the weigh-in at 142 pounds. Can he do that? Can he do what he did against Margarito?
His father won't allow him.
When he came at 144 and in the night of the fight, he only gained 4 pounds. For a guy like Margarito, who gained, 15 pounds after the weigh-in, probably a little bit more than that. I don't know if Lomachenko has that kind of strength.
I don't think
he's too small.
He's too small.
And his father won't, unless he gains more control of his own career. His father's not going to allow that. No way. His father's not going to let him go to 147. He's only 5'6". I know Pacquiao's a tiny dude. I mean, in all reality, Pacquiao should be fighting at 135. You know what I mean?
Hey, fellas,
It's crazy the fact of what he's done.
the only reason I brought up Linares is because even though he lost the title at the WBC title, he worked his way back up to the mandatory position for the WBA versus Vasily Lomachenko. So we might have to see that fight next.
I don't care whoever he fights. I'm going to watch him fight. You know what I mean? So I prefer him somebody different. There's rumors that Tank Davis is having like a death of a time making 130. So probably 1 or 2 more fights before he's at 135. I know he's nowhere near ready, but that should be interesting in a year because that kid can crack.
Tank Davis is not disciplined to keep his weight down. That's the problem.
No, he isn't. And he hangs out with Adrian Brenner, so he's all out partying and eating.
Enough said right there, right, brother? That said it all right there. You said he's hanging around Brona. There you go. There you go. There's some fucking life choices. Jesus Christ.
What about Raimundo Beltran versus Vasily Lomachenko? Unification. That'd be
I wouldn't mind that.
Fight. Yeah.
Isn't Beltran with Aaron?
I wouldn't mind. The only reason why I wouldn't mind it, I wouldn't hate it, because I like Beltran so much. I'd like to see him get that kind of money.
Yeah.
Because I've heard so many good things about him. He's so supposed to be such a good dude. So I'd be happy for him. Do I really want to see Lomachenko school him? No, not really, but
he'll bring it though. He won't like back off. He'll bring it.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's the only way he knows.
I think Beltran will bring it just as much as Linares brought it to Lomachenko.
Yeah, definitely.
Same
and we'll have confidence watching the last fight, knowing Lomachenko can get caught. Like, he's not invincible anymore. The all invincibility has been destroyed slightly.
Yeah, man.
That was an entertaining fight, man, because you saw a little bit of everything. You saw like a little adversity in that fight. I thought Lomachenko was clearly winning and would have won had the fight not been eventually stopped. But that's the way they were fighting. They were fighting for both guys were fighting to knock each other out. That was the deal there. That's what made it a great fight. They didn't want to leave it to the scorecards. Again, Linares could come. Can he come back from this loss? Is he still young enough to do so? I think he can. Do I want to see them fight again? I mean, shit. If he puts himself in position to do it again, why not?
Have you ever seen that kid's girl? His woman? She's fucking smoking. He's got a nice life, man. He dresses fine. He's got a nice house. He's got a beautiful home in Tokyo. One in South America too, I think. I mean, there's a guy who traveled all over to fight. He never had a home fight really, but he kind of adopted. He's a smart cat too. He speaks Japanese. He right now he has a comfortable life, and if he was smart with his money, he could. You know what I mean? Fighting's like everything else. The more money you make, sometimes it's harder to get that motivation to get your face punched when you're living fucking fat. But
yeah.
I posted a picture of Linares' wife. Everyone on YouTube can look at her.
Smoker, right? Hey, is Stu still here?
Nope. I think he left.
Well, saying goodbye, huh? What a prick. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so my take on Lomachenko, I don't think he can move to 147. He's too small, like Jimmy just said. I'm looking at the lightweight Ring Magazine
you broke up, BDA.
rankings.
What was that? Bucho?
Sorry, what? Did I cut off? Anyways, so Lomachenko is the champion according to Ring Magazine. Then you have Linares, Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter, and Raimundo Beltran, and so on. So I don't know who Linares could fight.
Saying because you did break up, and it sounded interesting when you were getting at the end.
All right. So do you guys want to talk about Kovalev against Alvarez happening this Saturday?
Yeah, I like that fight. I mean,
yeah, repeat what you were saying though, dude, because you like to repeat. It was interesting what you were saying, but you kept checking out.
I was just talking about the lightweight, the rankings, and I said Lomachenko is rated as the champion. Then you have Linares number 1. Then you have Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter, Raimundo Beltran, Richard Comey, Anthony Crolla, Luke Campbell. So, like, the lightweight division is not amazing. I mean, if you're a fighter like Lomachenko who wants to transcend the sport and become a huge star, a pound for well, he's already a pound for pounder, but to become like a superstar, he doesn't have that nemesis, that he needs, like a Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia is not gonna fight him. So, what's next for Lomachenko? Then that's a real question.
I don't know, but I would have loved that to be a nice rivalry, because I think that this. I've always said this: if there's any guy more or less Lomachenko styles that could beat him, I wouldn't pick him. I'm saying that could beat him would be Mikey Garcia. I've always thought that Mikey Garcia has the best chance, boxing style wise, to beat him.
I have a gut feeling if they ever do end up fighting, Lomachenko is going to really target the body, just to see if that's just a coating of a little bit of flub he has around the side, because he definitely doesn't come in rock solid on the midsection.
No, I think someone said it in the last stream, but he doesn't do any like core work. He just runs and does pads and the heavy bag. That's it.
Oh yeah, I read that. Well, I heard that from his brother. Mikey doesn't do any weightlifting, any core training.
It's important to do some, core. Your core, your back, your legs are very important in boxing. It should be. It's important. Period. But it doesn't seem that he, at least when it comes to the core, maybe he does. Maybe he just doesn't. It doesn't show. You know what I'm saying? Like some guys work out their core really well. They just don't. They don't show the results. But it seems to me that he's not a guy that focuses on that, and therefore, you get those lackluster performance where you almost get the idea that you almost get the impression, at least for me, that Mikey Garcia he's better than what he's showing right now. He could be better than that. He has the capability of being better. Is it because he's not working out his core? Is there certain things that are missing in his training regimen?
It doesn't look like he's training his core though.
You know who he reminded me? He reminded me of Chavez Senior. He's come kind of flabby, and I think they did that on purpose to get a little bit of cushion for in case they get power punches in the stomach. I don't know. Who knows?
That's a good point, man. Fuck, different styles, but yeah.
Well, it's just a coating of fat between the muscle and the skin. You know what I mean? It's just they're not burning all the fat away. Just some people carry more fat around their internal organs. He could still have hard abs. It's body style, ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Some people just carry more, fat. And some guys, like you see guys who don't look that jacked, right? Then all of a sudden you see them with their shirt off and they look like they're 250 pounds ripped because they have round muscle bellies, small joints. You know what I'm saying? And they just, no matter what they eat, they get fucking abs. So it all comes down to that.
You know what? Also, it might be Alex Ariza. He's no longer in the Robert Garcia camp. Alex Ariza has the nutrition package that keeps their fighters lean. So not having him in camp might be the reason why we see a little bit of flabby there.
Well, Garcia openly admits that's not his part of the game. He doesn't deal with that. Like, remember when Rios came in horrible shape against, who was it, Bradley, and he just basically quit. His body couldn't take it. He was skin and bones, with just, you could tell it was sauna and fucking, you know what I mean? Sauna and sweating. That's all he took the weight off. There wasn't no correct dieting. He just crashed the weight off, and he was weak. And and then on top of that, a lot of his fighters were missing weights. There was a string there for about. Oh, real, right? But I'm just saying it. Then it was Garcia had a few fights. It was like 3 out of 4 fights that his fighters missed weight. But he would say, "Listen, that's not my thing." You know what I mean? I'm, I don't do the nutrition end of it, which a trainer really shouldn't. That should be a separate gig.
Yeah, they're more old school because his pops is the one he's the general of the academy there, and then Robert Garcia he's taking over. So they're more old school than anything.
I'm happy for the father.
Yeah,
You know
definitely.
what I mean? Like to see he put a lot of
They're
years into that.
well schooled. That's a well schooled boxing family. That's
His
just a
father put his
very
life.
well.
His father gave his life to boxing, man.
And not
Yeah.
only
I'm
that, man,
happy
they
to have
respect.
one of his.
Not only that, but what they done for the community to open up the doors for the youth and everything to come in there, learn the sport, sharing it, and not only that, but sharing their style worldwide because he brings in a lot of Russians, like the Mexican Russian, um,
That's true.
Gradovich,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that came from Eastern Europe saying, you know what, let me go check out that gym.
Now imagine if it was Robert was the one born with the natural talent like Mickey, because Robert loved boxing. I mean, that was his life, still is. And like the father knows that the son who was born with the protege was born with the net openly it's a means to an end. This isn't my life. This isn't my first love.
Hmm.
And it's like you're still that talented.
Yeah, I can receive what you say that he was kind of forced into boxing, that he
Yeah.
didn't want to go to the gym, he didn't want to, yeah. And look at him now, man, one of the best
Well,
in the world.
he's already. I believe I don't know if he already passed the test. It's like so he can get on when he retires. I'm pretty sure he might have already taken the whatever is the civil service out in California because he wants to be a highway patrolman.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's his
Yeah, so
dream.
even Mikey doesn't want
Yeah,
to
be a police
become a
officer.
box. Well, it seems like Mikey just wants a quick way out of boxing, though, as well.
Yeah, he wants to make
Well,
his money and use what he was given. It seems like I don't know if he's the most talented out of the family or he was the most paid attention to. Right?
yeah,
Like
no, he's the
from
most talented all around. I
I think
remember the
so too.
brother very well. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember Robert
definitely.
Garcia. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember Robert
Because
tough,
before
remember,
tough
Chico.
rapper, but
When he fought
not didn't have the
Chico,
talent Mickey.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
he
they
tried
had
his best with Chico, but he
but they had Vargas in that gym too, so he also learned from Fernando Vargas,
that's right,
former
that's
world
right.
champion. Yeah.
A very good fighter. This is a guy that had a quick stop at boxing, but he made his impact. At least in my opinion, I think he did. He had
And
great
you know
fights.
what? Fernando Vargas versus Tito Trinidad,
That
that
was a great
particular
fight.
to get back up from those knockdowns and produce that fight he did. Imagine what that did psychologically for Mikey Garcia to be in part of that particular day.
That changed both of their careers to me. Um, that fight changed Trinidad's career and Vargas's career. That was
That was a
that. That's
beautiful
how.
fight.
That's how beautiful that fight was. That these guys, both of them, they lost something in that ring. They left something in that ring, like that literal saying. Trinidad wasn't the same after that fight. Go check him out after that fight. There was
Well, he moved up
certain
in
things
weight,
that
though.
he moved up in weight for Joppy, right? And
Yeah.
Joppy was no match then. What people don't realize was that he broke Trinidad's eye socket in that fight,
Choppy?
and there was a
Oh,
no
Vargas. Okay.
Vargas.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Joppy didn't do anything.
No,
So
that's what I'm
he
like.
didn't fucking
Yeah, it was
Joppy
a.
didn't land anything, but Vargas did. Vargas broke his eye socket in that fight, and that's why he cried when he went up to the podium. Trinidad cried in the podium because that was a scary fucking fight. That's why there was a fight he almost lost.
Yeah, it was a
That's why
great
he
fight.
wasn't that emotional when he lost to Bernard Hopkins. Go back and watch him. He's a little disappointed, but you know, he wasn't that emotional when he lost to Bernard Hopkins because he knows what happened in that Vargas fight. He knows he almost lost, and maybe if he doesn't punch him in the balls, he probably does lose that fight.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
yeah. Going back to Mikey Garcia. So it seems like he has everything to be a pound for pounder, right? Like this.
Oh yeah, to me, Mikey Garcia has everything to be a pound for pound fighter. I believe that. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what he's doing, I mean, it's out. You can tell he met with Al. He said, "Okay, what can I do to gain the most amount of money?" To touch on your point, precise. I mean, not precise, prestige. Everything he's done, he's grabbed as many belts as possible. Every belt you got, gain. That's more money in your negotiation. That adds more money to every fight. So it seems like everything he's doing is to get as much money for the least amount of fights and then get out while he's still young and got his facilities and go on and be a cop. I don't see him fighting more than 2 more years. I'd be shocked if he does.
No, well, you know what? Actually, on ESPN Deportes, Mikey Garcia had an interview, and he said he's thinking about 35.
Whoa.
if everything goes well. So he's about 4 or 5
How
more
old is he
years into
now?
the game. He's 30.
Was he
About 5 more
30?
years.
Okay.
Yeah, Garcia's gonna look. He's looking to make his money and more likely retire with his faculties. I can't blame him for that, right? I mean, it's a deadly
Nope.
sport.
Absolutely.
You do sign up for it, so if something does happen, hey, listen, it's on you. It's part of the it's part of the package deal. But he wants to make quick money, and if he goes in and can win some big names and get some big money while doing it, I say more power to him. Do what you got to do. There's gonna be
Hey,
people that have their opinions on it, but at the end of the day, man, it's all about securing your future.
but I agree 100%. Hey, is that Stu back?
Uh,
No, Stu is
Is that
Stu's drunk. Stu passed out, man.
yeah, he passed out. Oh,
Jesus, what the hell is that? We're going through a tornado?
ElDude, you
Yeah.
should mute your mic, man.
Holy
ElDude,
shit.
you all
ElDude.
right, ElDude?
What the
It
fuck?
sounds like
Jeez.
ElDude is falling down a hill.
Yo, ElDude. All right.
Jesus
Shit.
Christ.
I
That'll
can't
go
even.
good. I almost hit the floor.
Yo, ElDude, mute your mic, man.
Good lord.
God.
Good lord.
What, you just get thrown down a flight of stairs?
Yeah, I think he just got.
Sounded like he was in the Matrix or something, man.
Yo, ElDude's from California. He's from California, so he might
I
have
think
been in a battle right now.
fuck, I think the big one just hit. I'm gonna go check CNN. Was there a fucking earthquake? Holy shit.
I see. Tell him to mute his mic.
I think he had Christy Mack in the house, and
Oh,
God. Oh.
Nah, man, I headed to my last class and shit, but I had to catch the bus. So, sorry
that's
about
what
that,
that
fellas.
was. All right.
All right, well, we hear background noise, man, like
Well, I appreciate. Yeah,
car
that
stuff.
was cool. We all really wanted to know what it sounded like to run and catch a bus in LA.
Sound like you fell down to the stairs, man.
Yeah, at first I thought it sounded like he was falling down a hill. Like he just kept going and going. He had the phone. He wouldn't let go of the phone.
Jesus.
God
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. What were we talking about? Mikey and his family. He can become a pound for pounder. Listen,
Yeah.
the problem is that Lomachenko is right in front of him, and if he doesn't fight Lomachenko, there's like not much he can do. That's why he's talking about going to fight Spence. But Jimmy, can you just explain to me, like, so
Yes.
what's his plan, Mikey Garcia? So it's a bluff, right? The Spence
In
Jr.
my
fight.
opinion, that's what I believe it is. I believe it's just a bluff, a big money fight. He can use his leverage
To
when he's
get more
because listen,
money.
when Bob sits across from you and says, "Kid, you're not going to make anything anywhere near where you going to go. This is it." He knows him. Listen, we know what you want. You'd want to get out of this. You just want to make your money and go. Where are you going to go? So now he can bang, throw that on the table. I'll just go fight Spence. Oh, get out of here. You'll get fucking killed. But it'll be a pay-per-view. I'll make millions. I'll retire. The Lomachenko won't have his money. You know what I'm saying? Or does anybody really think, because if he does, shame on him. I think that's ridiculous. He could
Because
get
Jimmy,
hurt a lot more than if he fought Lomachenko
it
against
appears
Spence.
there's already things in play that are moving. Like, for example, Richard Schaefer is saying that I am very good with pay-per-views, so this is gonna be a great pay-per-view fight in November. So he's already planning ahead for a pay-per-view.
But you know what I'm saying? Now, put yourself and say, what's that though? That's nothing legal, right? He can't get in trouble for saying that. And
Okay,
if
it's
he's
part of the bluff.
representing Mickey, wouldn't that be a part of the plan to sit there and say,
Okay.
like to say all that stuff to make it look that way? It helps him negotiate. I just can't see it. And if it does happen, I'll be shocked.
That's true. That's a good point, Jimmy. Okay, another thing. During the fight, or after the Garcia Easter fight, Spence Jr. was with the Showtime commentators there. They brought him for a reason, right?
What did you guys think about the Easter fight? Just a quick opinion. I know you guys probably talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it. Well, give us your take. Give us your take.
He didn't. I'm sorry.
The whole fight. I didn't watch the whole fight. But the fight went as expected. I'm happy that Garcia at least showed it, because you still got to give. it's one thing to expect something. It's another thing for them to actually do it. And I think that he separated himself. Like don't talk about Robert Easter. Robert Easter has no shot of beating Mikey Garcia. That's my impression of the fight. He can't box with him. He can't box with him. And his only chance is to get lucky and knock out, Mikey. But I
He
thought
tried.
that Mikey definitely, huh?
He tried at some point, but he lost in the exchanges every time. Easter Jr.
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought that that's what I mean. Like I thought the fight played out more or less. I thought Mikey had a very good shot of stopping him late. But I think he dropped him, right? He dropped him in the I forgot what round.
Third, fourth.
Yeah, right.
I think.
So he showed that there's a clear gap between him and Robert Easter Jr. And those are the kind of statement fights that puts you on that pound for pound list, right? That will put you. I thought to me that was a performance. Again, I got to watch the whole fight because I watched like a 15-minute highlight reel of the fight. The best moments of the fight. One of those kind of YouTube, they chop up the video and the fights. And from what I saw, he was just, like you said, Bucho, he was beating him to the punch all the time in those exchanges. Just the overall much better boxer.
Yeah, Easter Jr. got a new trainer. So I'm pretty sure the plan was, well, finally now with me, you're going to use your reach, you're going to move around. But you can't change a boxer in one fight. Go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm so. I was talking to my girl. I'm sorry. I paused. I didn't realize I was
That's
live,
fine,
dude.
fine.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. So yeah, I like you said, recognize. I think at some point after the third round, maybe like Robert Easter Jr. sort of said, you know what, I have absolutely no chance of winning this fight. I'm just gonna fight like I fought Javier Fortuna. Just go all out and see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think in the 12th round he abandoned to what they were saying. But my opinion on Easter is this: I think he was a guy who made it to where he made it using his freakish size to his advantage, and he was able to get up there. And then let's not forget, man, didn't this dude just go life and death with two dudes who Mickey should wreck? And so I didn't rate him that high. Again, I think he was more size than he was ability. And I think that played out. I don't think he knows how to use his ability. Listen, at his size, he should have been able to do a lot more things in there. He just didn't have the know-how.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's gonna take a while for him to change his style. He's not used to that.
And also Garcia too. I didn't think he didn't throw enough punches, bro.
But he didn't have to though.
Well, what do you guys think? You think Easter should blow up in weight, man? Like, is this weight like good for him, man? Being that size?
No. Look at his shoulders. If you look at Mikey Garcia, his shoulders are not wide. They're.
It just doesn't seem like that's the.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you hear me?
No, I was gonna say that I think that I just think Robert Easter fighting at 130. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Oh, everybody's dropping.
The fucking bus.
Okay, ElDude still on a bus ride. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Guys in the chat, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
I hear you now.
Okay, that was weird.
I can hear you, Bucho.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Bucho.
Okay, perfect.
At least fight at 140, man. God damn. Like, he's 5'11". He's almost 6. He's 6 feet, basically.
Yeah, but 140, but then 147, I don't think so. He's just like he's not like a Thomas Hearns. I don't even know what the hell his style is, man.
I think he gets sparked out if he goes up in weight, but maybe he could bring some power. You know what I'm saying? Like some.
See, the problem is when he goes up in weight, his biggest advantage is height. See, sometimes at that height, you can just lean your way out of trouble back. You know what I mean? By the time the fucking punch gets there, the guy's almost up on his toes. His body angle's wrong. When you throw a punch up like that, leaving your feet, you lose so much of your power. Or if you're leaning across your toes, like you never want your chest coming across the front of your toes. When he starts moving up in weight, all of a sudden those 2-3 extra inches those guys have make a big difference. Then all of a sudden their chest isn't up over their toes chest isn't up over their toes when they're making contact.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. It's gonna be totally different for him fighting guys that are a bit taller. I don't know. But guys, were you even impressed with Easter Jr. at lightweight? Like, it seems like I saw 2 of his fights, and that's it. Go ahead. Oh boy. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
He was caught in 2 minds. He wanted to be a fighter and a boxer at the same time. Yeah. I think Broner's done, man. I don't see him taking over anything.
There's really nobody there at 140 though that could probably. I don't know, man. 140 for Adrian Broner seems right to me.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the work rate. He doesn't work hard enough.
He just went life and death with what's his name? What's that kid from Chicago? The tough who?
Vargas,
yeah. Went life and death with him. That kid's a club fighter. I think Broner's been so exposed it's almost comical. I think Pro Guy would fucking tune his ass up.